at their Granite City plant. When Trump's Commerce Department allowed the Japanese steel company to purchase U.S. steel, Trump put in a national security measure and what they call a golden share clause, allowing them to intercede in any closures to protect national interest. The company has not given a production schedule since the White House announced that it would stop the closure. A former Edwardsville High School assistant principal was sentenced on Monday to 4 years in prison on charges related to having sex with a 17-year-old student. 53-year-old Aaron Hamilton Foley pled guilty to felony sexual assault charges as part of a plea deal. Police are asking the public's help in identifying a suspect in the Schnook shooting on Sunday afternoon. A 40-second video clip and a photo of the suspect has been released by St. Louis police of that fatal incident at the store in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood, which is on Union. Police are asking anyone with information to call the homicide tip line. In a horrible, sad accident, an 8-year-old Bell Fountain neighbor boy was killed when the swing set he was playing on collapsed. The boy became unconscious shortly after he was freed under the crossbeam, and he died of his injuries a short time later. In sports, a Monday night shootout in Detroit as the Lions beat the Ravens 38-30, and the Cardinals of Von Herrera hit a 2-run bomb in helping the Birds beat the Giants 5-4. It is 5:05 and 69 degrees. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We continue to deal with a cut-off low-pressure system that sends waves of unsettled weather our way. We squeezed most of yesterday out dry, but not so much today. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. There will be scattered showers and thunderstorms around 80. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight, 68. Same story Wednesday. Mostly cloudy with scattered showers and thunderstorms, 77. We start to slowly dry out Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's 5:05, and you can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime, anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
And good morning. I'm Ryan Recker, in for Marc Cox this week, alongside Dan Buck. Good morning to you, Dan.
I am good. I'm hoping Mark's enjoying his vacation time, too. Well-deserved.
I know.
Guy works hard, man.
Yeah, no kidding. He does. He goes to so many different events, too. You think it's just, I show up for the radio show. I go home, and that's the end of the day. No. That's not how it works.
He's out in the community all the time,
Yep. So I have an update to the pumpkin spice hand soap I want to talk about later this hour.
So let's set this up for everybody. So you went downstairs, yesterday to get a cup of coffee after your 5-hour radio show, or 4 hours on Coast to Coast, and then another 4 hours on this show. And there's a new soap that you said at the kitchen sink that smelled horrific, right?
Yep, pumpkin spice. It was pumpkin spice. Okay. And it was hand soap, and it was, so you use it. And first I use it, I'm like, okay, whatever. But for example, in the morning, if I'm eating a bagel before the show, you put your hands up close to your nose and you smell it, and the smell of it gets in there and ruins the flavor for anything you're eating. It was terrible.
Or drinking, whatever.
Oh yeah. So I thought this is a good idea. As soon as my wife wakes up, I'm going to start that argument. And it escalated yesterday after I said, we're not doing this pumpkin spice stuff. It's gross. So she pulled a lot of tactics on me. It's a full-blown war we're in right now. So I want to give you an update later this hour if we could.
Okay. We'll have the pumpkin spice war going on at the Recker house.
It's not looking good for me. Let me just put it that way.
I told you that yesterday. It is a no-win proposition. Let the pumpkin spice go and just put an alternative out for yourself.
Well, I came up with an alternative.
You did?
I came up with a real manly alternative, and it backfired so bad. How did it backfire? All right, but we'll do that later. You see, Jimmy Kimmel's going to return tonight, but not on Sinclair stations.
You and I were in different wavelengths. I thought there was no way ABC would bring him back. I mean, he's badmouthed ABC how many times? Right. And ABC, you thought maybe had learned the lesson. And not to mention, you know what, though? I thought, they're going to ride this wave of national attention and think they're going to get some good ratings for a while. with him. You know what I mean? Because there will be a lot of people retuning in for the relaunch or whatever, and his apology, and they'll get a whole nother news cycle out of this. But his show still sucks, so it won't.
I guarantee he doesn't apologize.
He won't apologize?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that's the reason why. Like Sinclair's still not going to air him because he's not going to apologize, and that means ABC 30 in St. Louis. Some other big markets like Washington, D.C. and Seattle and Columbus, and I'm trying to remember some of the bigger ones, but there's a lot of large markets that are just not going to air his show until it's made good, and it doesn't look like Jimmy Kimmel has any interest in making this good. He just wants to let that thing fester, the poorly timed comments he made.
Wouldn't this be a great time for somebody to do a syndicated show that Nexstar and Sinclair and other stations that don't want Kimmel could pick up? Like, you know what I mean? Like somebody who's entertaining and actually funny to come out with a little podcast-like hosted show.
Well, they've tried that. What was the one show they did on Dish, and they still might do it? It's like a morning show. It's like an urban morning show, and they try to syndicate it to look like a TV show. And I don't think it does any well on the ratings. And it was on and off TV for a little while. Oh, I forgot what the show was called, but it wasn't The Breakfast Club. It was something else. But I would say that if they're going to do anything, you would have to be low rent, meaning they don't got money, man. No one's got this. Let's go lose $30 million a year on a show type of money anymore.
Why couldn't Gutfeld make his available? Well, of course, it's not ABC stations. That's the problem. But I'm saying, why doesn't he make that available to Fox stations, right? Fox affiliate stations. Why couldn't Fox News provide that to them? I mean, I think Gutfeld on broadcast, his numbers would crush everybody because everybody currently has to have cable in order to pick it up. And so many people in the Midwest still, believe it or not, are still on broadcast TV, and they're kind of, they got 3 stations to choose from, and all of them are, liberal late night shows.
Yep. So that's
our show's available.
Huh?
Our show's available.
Our show's available.
You guys are willing.
There we go. Make it TV.
What time is it? Is it 11 p.m.? What time does Kimmel start? I can't remember.
Yeah, like 10:30, 11.
Yeah, it comes on after the news.
Yeah, it's after the news.
Yep.
I'm in bed. It doesn't matter if I'm in or not.
I don't really think that's an option. I'm definitely in bed.
Let's do a quick Vegas odds over under on the amount of Jimmy Kimmel shows you've watched in the past 22 years since he's been on the air. And I'm going to set the over under at 1.5. Where are you at?
Full shows?
You mean a full show?
I would say more than half.
0.
I'm under 0. I'm also. So I think we're all in the same spot here. We're pretty much, we are the general demographic for Jimmy Kimmel. We have not watched more than half a show in the 22 years. Odds are most people have never seen more than a quarter show or more than maybe 10 minutes curated
I just watched
online.
The mean tweets. That's it. When he did that mean tweet segment.
Oh, you know what? There's a couple of those segments that were on YouTube. I remember.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever watched.
10 years ago now?
I've only seen him on clips shared somewhere else. I've never actually watched the broadcast show.
I can't say I've ever seen it.
And mainly because
that's 10 years.
Well, like in St. Louis, our ABC affiliate doesn't really even have a newscast, do they? Do they?
That's a good point because that's what they said they're going to fill it with is news.
Who is it? Because CBS is Channel 4, NBC is Channel 5, Fox is Channel 2.
Yeah.
Who's the ABC affiliate? Why am I drawing a blank?
Well, ABC 30,
but 30, and they don't have a late night.
Maybe not
News sport. Yeah, they have no news department, do they?
Okay,
I don't think they do.
You would know better than I do, Dave.
Yeah, I don't think they do. They used to years ago, but KDNL, right? Yeah, I don't think they have they don't even have a newscast. That's why they have no lead-in power, right? So if you don't have a lead-in, I'm sure the ratings here are horrific.
Doesn't matter. You could have Johnny Carson back from the dead doing it, and no one would continue on to watch Jimmy Kimmel. It doesn't matter your lead-in for Jimmy Kimmel. Yep. No one's going to carry over to watch him anyway. You want to do the short list?
Let's do it.
The Marc Cox short list.
Charlie's killer lives with a guy who's transgender. The Annunciation shooter was transgender. The Covenant shooter was transgender. Should the FBI be investigating transgender extreme?
We're looking at that, and it seems like, is that just a, what's the reason for it?
We're looking into that. Probably a good idea, I would think.
Every day we have to call 911.
The manager of this Dunkin' Donuts asking we not show his face, citing safety concerns.
20-25 kids you will see them every day. Assaulting people, spitting on the people, breaking the glasses.
What?
So that's in Baltimore, and people on the street are tired of violence, particularly youth violence in the city. They're looking at the option of a National Guard as a godsend, honestly, a lot of these different places.
Did he say spitting on their customers?
Yeah.
Is that what he said? Oh, my gosh.
This is Baltimore, yeah.
Man.
Hey, I just canceled my Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions. And they asked me why. I hit other, and I wrote, because I believe in the First Amendment, reinstate Jimmy Kimmel.
Now that's
Well,
Cynthia Nixon. Didn't she run
him.
for office too? And she just
unbelievable.
No one wanted to listen to her then. She didn't have anyone follow her into her political beliefs. Now the Sex and the City actress is asking you to boycott Disney. Whatever, man.
The reality is that you were the vice president. You were swearing up and down that you were in the room for all the major decisions. And then come to find out, you're acknowledging that that was not the case. Now that you're trying to sell a book and we're hearing a totally different tune, all I'm trying to say to you is that folks are going to remember that. And you weren't that strong of a candidate before, respectfully.
Stephen A, my man, Stephen A.
Dude,
I
what's
love
so
that you
into that
say
guy?
anything as long as you say respectively.
Yeah.
Respectively.
Just end it with respectfully.
You're
Right.
terrible, respectively.
Man, I mean, he's been pretty brutal on liberals lately. Is he turning a code here? Or?
I heard he's running for something. That's why.
Oh, he's trying to
No
get back to
way.
the center.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
I think he would be someone that a lot of people would support. He has the stances that are just common man stances. I'm tired of this. And that's typically a conservative type of view. Do you hear Stephen A? He's on with Sean Hannity once in a while, and they're really good together. So I didn't hear he was running for something. What kind of office would he run for?
Don't say president.
I thought, who were we talking to? Somebody came in here and said they thought he was running for president.
Oh, no.
Maybe it's
That can't
Congress. I don't know. I swear somebody came in here and told us that he was running for some office.
Or maybe it was just because they heard what we heard was him coming back more to the middle and talking a little more common sense. Because he was really crazy left here about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where, every week he was making headlines for going after Trump, going after different people. But man, he really has been pretty brutal on liberals as of late.
Yeah,
and very supportive of Charlie Kirk, and
good for him.
The hatred being being directed towards Charlie and towards conservatives during that. He was out there going, "How dare you?" So who knows? He must be trying to do something, maybe just to improve his own podcast ratings, to come back more to the middle and pull another audience.
Yeah. Let's say he was more closely aligned with like a Fetterman. Maybe it's more of a way to look at it that way. He might not be full-blown conservative, but a lot of things he says the conservatives could get on board with. Okay, let's talk about the big announcement about Tylenol and autism. After the break, we'll play some clips from that. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, things are pretty decent out there. In fact, very light. We've got road work that blocks the ramp from 270 eastbound to 170 southbound, but that's not causing any backups. There's a detour posted, pretty easy to get around. We've also got 270 at 170. A stalled vehicle, watch for that off to the right side. And then again on 90, or I think that's 64 eastbound, just past 94, you've got another stalled vehicle, this off to your left side and partial left lane there. But nothing to slow you down yet. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
The weather's hot, the weather's cold. Welcome to late summer and fall in the greater St. Louis area. What that probably means is on those evenings where it has been cooler, you've raised your windows. Let a little bit of air in the house while you can, right before it starts getting cold. And maybe that's when you've noticed the window doesn't open properly. The string broke. The seal is broken in the window. You notice that moisture between the two panes of glass. That means you have a broken seal. You need window replacements. What are you going to do? I'm going to tell you to call Window World. Great people, great folks. They've been around a long time. There's a reason they're ranked #1 in windows by Qualified Remodeler magazine out of the whole country. So call them at 314-993-1800. Tell them you're interested in interest-free financing. They're offering 18 to 36 months interest-free right now. Just tell them Marc Cox sent you. 314-993-1800 or windowworldstl.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker. And Dan Buck, I got to say, yesterday, the press conference that came out, it seems like most people already knew that it's probably not a great idea to take a lot of Tylenol, particularly when you're pregnant. And it almost seems like good general advice that if you don't have to take it in general, it's probably better not to take it at all. Did you hear the press conference, some of the things that came from it?
Yeah, I did. I was also very curious about the drug that apparently helps with autism symptoms. They said that they are going to do more research on, but are already recommending it. Were you aware of what that was? I don't have it in front of me, but
No, but I feel like it, in a way, they may have learned their mistake over I would say, President Trump in the past. You had Joe Biden, probably Barack Obama too. You had the last several presidents all say, we are going to find a cure for cancer in my presidency. And it never happened. So they realized maybe that's not a good promise to make, that we're going to find a cure for anything at this point, because it's a very difficult ask. But what they find in particularly Tylenol is that if you take it during pregnancy, meaning take too much of it, take more than what the minimum you can take, they're saying that it increases the risk of autism by 3 times, something along those lines. So now they also mentioned, and they try to make this as general as possible, which is, that of all the medication, Tylenol is the safest. So if the alternative is nothing or Tylenol, in a lot of ways, as a mom, you're going to have to take Tylenol. But what they're basically saying is we're going to change the label on it. So you have to take basically the recommended minimum to negate that risk as much as possible. Let's see. JFK or RFK Jr., excuse me, talked about some of the guidelines. This is clip number 10. I think it's 10.
FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change. HHS will launch a nationwide public service campaign to inform families and protect public health. FDA also recognized that acetaminophen is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects. HHS wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment in the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration and only when treatment is required.
Yeah, and they're saying there is direct evidence that it not only increases the chances, but the more the mother takes and the more frequency that is, the higher that rate goes. So they obviously have linked it to the potential of autism, ADHD, and intellectual disabilities, but they're saying that it goes even higher if the mother is taking it on a daily basis, or, every time she has a headache or body aches. And we all know, if you've been married to a woman who's had children, the body aches are a daily issue. A lot of people were having it, and for decades it's always been, just take Tylenol, take 2 of these, and if you're taking 2, 4, 6 a day, they're finding the link increases the more that mothers are taking. The drug, by the way, that I was talking about that helps with symptoms of autism and potentially to help improve those symptoms. They did a double-blind placebo-controlled trial on Leucovorin. I guess it's a drug that a lot of people take to prevent some of the side effects of chemotherapy. And they're saying that it is showing very, very favorable. It's basically folic acid. I mean, it's a fancy name. Leucovorin is how they what they're calling it, but it's basically a derivative of folic acid, and they're saying that it has shown the potential to improve many of the symptoms of autism and ADHD. So we'll see.
You notice President Trump did something yesterday during the press conference that is very similar to my tactics when it comes to starting war with my wife. He used the terms, maybe the women need to toughen it out.
Did he really say that?
Yeah. So let me see if we can play this clip. And I thought, oh boy, you can't tell a pregnant woman that. This is something I would say. Let's say clip 12. I think this is in this one.
Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly.
Can't tough it out.
Yeah,
Don't say that to a pregnant woman.
He's got to stop ad-libbing. He just has to stop ad-libbing. I promise you, they did not have that in the talking points.
Yeah,
just tell women to toughen it out. What was good advice from Kennedy, what you heard him say was, if headaches or body aches are so severe that they ask doctors to either find alternative options for those body aches, or to greatly minimize the volume and the amount and the frequency as they can. If you're just aware of it, I think you're going to minimize that. By the way, Kenvue, which is the manufacturer of Tylenol, they, of course, are denying it. They didn't bring forth any big research studies or any factual evidence that has proven that they've looked into this, but their stock has plummeted yesterday.
Ooh, there
down
you
about
go.
10%. Yeah.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
AutoZone, the parts supplier and service company, and memory chip maker Micron Technology report earnings today. Their updates on manufacturing and the service sector of the economy for September from S&P Global. Mohamed El-Erian, chief economic advisor at Allianz, says investors are closely watching the labor market.
My major concern on the economy is the jobs market, because we're seeing low hiring and low firing. And that's fine, but if firing steps up, then it risks spreading. The history of the labor market is that the weakening, if it continues, becomes nonlinear. So we need to keep an eye on the labor market. I think that's the major risk to the economy right now.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell delivers a speech in Rhode Island today. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, crews are just clearing a stall out around 64 at 94 on the eastbound side. That's out of the left lane there, so that's not going to be there much longer. And things are moving quite well out there. We do have some delays, not delays, but the road work going on 270 eastbound. That 170 southbound ramp is shut down. A detour posted. You just go up and flip around if you need to, but it's not a big workaround right now. But otherwise, the roadways are looking quite nice. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Hey, coming up, you got another opportunity to listen to my friends at the Retirement Advisory Group. They're going to have a Protecting Your Retirement Educational event Thursday, October 2nd, the Frontenac Hilton. That starts at 6:30. I've been to a lot of these. It is eye-opening. I see people who can't believe that they haven't heard some of this before, but I'll be there along with Annie Fry and Mark Reardon, and Thomas Helbig will be the one instructing you on what you need to know about personalized structured income plans, how to protect your money from losses in the stock market. And if you're 59 and a half or older, how you can roll over your retirement plan tax-free and then start protecting your nest egg from any losses in the future. Hey, I would highly suggest signing up for this. It's great information. Even if you don't end up acting on it, at least you know it. Go to retirementkey.com, save the date for October 2nd. Call 314-993-9494. It's free, 314-993-9494.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative. But don't give a f.
It's the segment of the day where we give a voice in social media, the platform and the floor here on this show, because most people in mainstream media want to ignore these voices. They want to not hear from the common people and the folks out there talking pure common sense. So we're going to give a platform to folks in social media. And this lady, I started following her about 6 months ago and watched her numbers grow from about 20,000 followers. Today, she's up over 100,000. And she's on both Instagram. I watch her on X, but she just goes by Puddin' because she is from Tennessee. She's got a great charm about her. She's extremely funny, comedic like funny. But she's just a housewife. She's a mom. She was born in Eastern Tennessee, loves her country, loves Donald Trump, and she just talks common sense to the liberals. However, since Charlie Kirk's passing, her sarcasm has dwindled a bit, and she's going all in with her faith. And she is a very faithful woman. But yesterday, she could not hold herself back. She brought back some of her sarcasm and some of her wit. When people actually attacked, I don't know if you saw this on social media, people attacked Erica Kirk, calling her weak. And yes, calling her weak because she forgave the gunman. And they say it just shows how weak of a woman she is, that she all,
Who would say that?
well, apparently a lot of people, because it set old Puddin' off, and you're going to hear Puddin' this morning. She is today's Truth Bomb Tuesday hero here on the Buck Don't Give a Beep, and you're going to love her. Listen to Puddin', and you're going to find her on X. Here we go.
You know what? At this point, I ain't even going to get mad at y'all anymore. I'm just going to sit over here and flat out pity y'all. Because, I mean, how low of a person do you have to be to sit here and twist the story of a grieving widow to mock a woman who just buried her husband? Oh, my Lord. And that's not just low, okay? That's like bottom of the daggum barrel. Bless your little bitter hearts. Here's the cold hard truth about it. Somewhere along the way, someone did you wrong in your life. Everybody's got a story. And instead of trying to work through it, talking to somebody about it, handing it over to God, you just sit in it and wallow in it like a pig in mud, just rolling around in your own hate and misery. So now when you see Erica, who's broken and grieving, mind you, but still standing tall, still showing love, mercy, and forgiveness, it makes your skin crawl. Why, may you ask? Because demons cannot stand some holy water, baby. Y'all out here kissing like a feral cat, squirming around like you're a worm in hot ashes, just constantly online, lashing out, trying to drag her down. But in all reality, all you're doing is showing the world of how miserable you are.
Amen.
And that right there, that's freaking pitiful. That's sad. And I mean this when I say this, I'm going to be praying for y'all. Because God forbid, the one life he gave you, you're going to sit here and waste it sitting in bitterness. I mean, meanwhile, Erica's over here living proof that forgiveness is power. Mercy is freedom. And love will always, always terrify the darkness.
Amen, man.
Wow.
If you want more from her, and she's out there probably 4 or 5 times a week with a new post. Very timely. She's always onto the current events. Her wit and her humor you're gonna love, but she has that Southern charm about her, and just calls a spade a spade. She would just lays it out there every day, and I loved that one there where she actually went in defense of Erica Kirk. Not that Erica needs any help. She's doing fine on her own, but I think she's just calling out how starkly different the left is from the right. And truly she's praying for them, right? Because they're dark, they're evil, they're just saying things that are so counterculture to what good Christians believe in. And I just love her. She's one of my favorites. Every time I see a new post, I'm always tuned into her. Puddin, Puddin is how you'll find her. I think the full handle is, let me get her full handle. It's Puddin 88124. So Puddin, Puddin, and then 88124. That's on X. That's where I follow her. So she's also
I don't know
on
where you
Instagram,
find some of this, but that's fantastic.
Well, I just like the fact that these people are never going to be given a mainstream platform, and we give them to you if you're not on any of those platforms or not connected to them, because there's millions of people out there sharing information. I just find people that I think are speaking the truth and bringing it on Truth Bomb Tuesday.
Do you ever mute or block people on social media when you see terrible takes? I've been blocking people. I've been muting people. I've been unfollowing people, mostly because I've seen some pretty terrible things the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and it's events like this that make me do it.
I'm pretty selective of like who I'll follow, so I haven't had to unfollow too many folks. And I'm also, I'll watch Instagram. I don't do any interaction on Instagram. I don't comment. I just view. And really X is the platform I go to primarily to get most of my content. So, and there you can control kind of who's hitting your timeline a little more. I don't get too much random stuff. So, but you know, the crazies are out there. It doesn't take much to, you know, you just search Trump or you search Tylenol and you'll get both sides of the war on X, and you'll get a lot of good feedback. But the people I follow who show up on a regular basis, I've only got about, you know, maybe 200 that I actually actively follow. So,
you know, there's been some comments lately, and I like seeing when Scott Jennings is trending on Twitter. I tell you what, at first I thought he's too good to be true. He's on CNN and he's saying these things, but for whatever reason, they keep him around. You like Scott Jennings?
I do. Absolutely. I think, you know, he talking about going into the lion's den like Charlie did. You know, this guy is always surrounded by 4 or 5 liberals, and he more than holds his own. In fact, most days he just flat out embarrasses those people.
Well, he's been on this mission too, embarrassing people that say some pretty terrible things about Charlie Kirk. last week or so, he has been on fire when it comes to trying to call out these terrible, terrible takes. Crockett being one of them. He had a great takedown of Crockett just a couple of days ago, Representative Crockett. But I've seen some other internet personalities and things that they don't really have the same type of status that a Scott Jennings does. So you might see it, but it's only going to be in your bubble. I think Scott gets through to multiple bubbles, like since he's on CNN. That's what makes it so powerful, because he says these things on CNN, and you might be the only person on a left-leaning network to say these sort of things. I can't think of anyone on MSNBC that's equivalent to a Scott Jennings that might speak this type of content to them. So I think he's the only one that actually can get through to the left-leaning audience.
And you got to give CNN credit for keeping him on there. At least they do, have 1 in 5 voices on most of their talk shows in Scott that is giving the other side, and having a counter voice. It's kind of like the 5. What's that one gal on the 5 is like nails on a chalkboard every time she starts to talk to me. It's so hard. Jessica Tarlov. Yeah, she's a piece of work.
Remember Bob Beckel? He was on there for a long time. Do you remember him?
I don't.
No.
No.
This would have been going back 10 years ago, maybe at this point. Beckel was the guy who wore the suspenders, a big dude, and he always would get in fights with like Greg Gutfeld and stuff. But it was kind of like harmless in a way. He was kind of like a grouchy old liberal, and it was acceptable in that sense. He got fired for some stupid comment, I can't remember, and then I think they tried to revive him on MSNBC, and he ended up passing away like a year later. It was
I wonder
not
if
long lived.
Tarlov and Gutfeld truly hate each other as much as it looks like they hate each other on the show, or is it just part of the shtick that they're going to be at each other almost every show? But Gutfeld he's done with her. I mean, at least that's the appearance. He went off on her, was it a week ago? And since then, she hasn't actually been on. She's been on one time since Gutfeld completely annihilated her on the show. She's only been back once. So I don't know if that's the producers not bringing her on, or whether they might have given her a break to say, hey, why don't you not come back for a few days?
I'm trying to figure this out too, because I thought she might have been taken out of the rotation, but the fact that you're saying she was back, at least maybe sparingly, then maybe they're telling her, hey, we're giving you the Kimmel treatment, probation.
Right. Well, in Virginia, one of our Facebook followers, she says she loves Harold Ford. I do too. I think Harold Ford is a very even-minded, fair-speaking liberal. I mean, yes, he's left, but his dialogue and the way in which he presents the left side is way more cordial and common sense thinking than most liberals can do. He breaks it down, and this is why we think that way. And I think he's fair. I just think he's a kind soul and a kind heart, and he presents the left's positions on the 5 very well, without it getting nasty or defensive, So,
yep.
Anyway, thanks, Virginia, for chiming in. I agree with you wholeheartedly that Harold Ford Jr. does a great job.
Well, I think I'm going to lose this war. It's not looking good for me when it comes to the pumpkin spice hand soap. I want to tell you where this thing escalated to coming up after the break.
I went out looking for some leather smelling soap for you, and I haven't found it yet.
I think I use probably the most manly thing I can find in my house, and it made things worse. Like, I really brought it up a notch. I thought this would have been
Don't spoil it.
End all. It was not the end all.
The soap saga continues on the Marc Cox Morning Show.
97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got 64 westbound at Boone's Crossing, a stalled vehicle. It's on the right shoulder, partial right lane on that one, and a crash. 55, your northbound side past Butler Hill, right lane taken out with that one as well. It was slowing through that area. And 64 eastbound past Prospect, watch for road work, taking out a partial left lane. Otherwise, things are moving well on the area system. No problems at all on 270, 70, 170, 55, 44, all is well. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Scott Jennings here. I'm excited to be part of the St. Louis conservative conversation, cutting through the noise with unfiltered common sense.
Scott Jennings.
Weekdays at 8 p.m.
on 97.1 FM Talk.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I was just texting with my friend Sean from Grasser Electric the other day. It seems like he's been the one that's been out to my house the last couple of times I've had to deal with Grasser Electric. And wow, what a great guy. Gets the job done, and he doesn't waste any time. He installed a 220 line for my hot tub when I moved it to the new home, and he took care of that in short order. I couldn't believe how quickly that got done. And they'll do the same thing for you. I don't get special treatment at Grasser. They've been at this for 50 years, and Shane and Josh Grasser run a great shop over there. You'll enjoy working with them, longtime supporters of this place, and they give a lot back to charity. They don't ask for much attention for that, but I give them a lot of credit for that. It's the kind of company you want to do business with. Here's their number. It's also their emergency number, 636-441-5200. Write it down, 441-5200. Somebody needs an electrician, tell them you got a guy. It's grasserelectric.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Unapologetically right. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox with Dan Buck. Ethan, our producer. Boys, I messed up.
What did you do now? You just got to learn, dude. You let the women win, especially the little fights. Let them win.
I know.
Just let them win. Don't even say anything.
I know, but I hate the smell of pumpkin spice so much.
So reset the table. If you weren't joining in us yesterday, he shows up at the kitchen sink, and there is not a little bottle either. It's like a 3-year supply.
Industrial size.
Industrial supply. That is a pumpkin spice hand soap. You try it. Now hand soap is getting into everything you eat, everything you drink. You can smell it every time your hand goes to your face. And you decided to escalate this battle, not just complain about it, but now you've escalated it. What did you do?
Yep. As soon as she woke up yesterday, I addressed it immediately. Not even a good morning, honey, I love you. It was a what's up with this pumpkin spice soap right off the bat. I think I took the wrong attitude to it.
Bad.
But she defended it. She's like, it was a good price and I like it. And it's the season for it. So you're going to like it too. Stop complaining. So I brought my grievances to you. And you guys, you know what? Maybe this is partially
to let it go is what we advised you.
No.
Yes, we
did.
did.
You said you got to find a manly scent.
Oh yeah, we said you could go with the alternative soap next to it.
Why would you listen to us?
Yeah. Why would I? I'm starting to figure this out. So after the show, I thought, okay, what's the manly scent I have? And then I remembered I have some Fast Orange in the garage, which is, if you don't know this, do you know Fast Orange?
It's like goop, isn't it?
Yeah, is it like that goop stuff?
Isn't it?
Yeah, well, you put it on your hand like you're working with greasy stuff, like you're working on the car or something, and it has the sand built into it. So when you rub it,
it's kind of like lava soap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but it smells really good. It's orange, So I thought I'm going to bring in the Fast Orange and put it on the sink, and that's what I'll use for my soap. Fast Orange. That's the manly thing to do. Oh, was that a mistake? She did not like that at all. So I end up taking my nap yesterday after the show. Now, keep in mind, I stayed up all night doing Coast to Coast AM. Did yesterday the entire morning show. By about 10 o'clock, I'm like, okay, I got to take care of this soap thing, and I got to get to bed because I just want to take care of this thing. One last thing on the check off the list. Bring it out, take a nap. And I wake up and I'm like, what is that smell? And I smell my hands like, no, what is that? She made pumpkin spice muffins and the whole house smelled like them.
Oh,
the whole
didn't.
house. She bombed the house with the smell.
Oh, it's going to show up everywhere. You're going to have pumpkin spice incense in your car. You know, the little thing that hangs from your
air
your
freshener.
mirror. Yeah, air freshener. That's going to be. This is going to be a war, dude. You are going to have
so
pumpkin spice for the next like 3 months, all the way through Thanksgiving.
I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? How do I
give up?
How do I
Stop.
win this?
Tell her you're sorry. Say I'm sorry. Read my lips. I'm sorry.
No, don't do that, Ryan. You should take it further.
No, don't
further.
Okay.
Make this
I'm listening.
worse.
Who's your friend here? All right, who's your friend? He's trying to get you deeper into the pumpkin spice.
I'm trying to get
world.
ratings.
Yeah. You know, I listen to both sides here, so I need to hear Ethan out. How do I take this further?
Don't.
I'm trying to think of a good way we could do this.
Oh, wait a minute.
You could hide her soap.
Just tell your wife Dan had nothing to do with this.
This was all Dan's
I'm
idea.
not getting sideways with Mrs. Wrecker. I'm not. So Dan
she could
said
come after you. You're
to
right.
say I'm sorry. Dan said just to embrace the pumpkin spice at the kitchen sink and it won't escalate. You're going to escalate this thing to the point where she's going to have it in your pillow at night. She's going to put some kind of a air freshener in your pillow.
You need like piles of sawdust you could put around.
Great idea.
Something that
I
smells
do
good.
have. I did one thing. So I went on Amazon and I ordered a bunch of regular hand soap in hopes to saturate the regular to try to normalize things again. I'm hoping that is looked at as a truce. What do you think?
What you did? What now? You went online and bought what?
Just regular hand soap.
Oh,
regular
just
soap.
regular.
So,
Okay.
yep. I would say I'm going to make it as bland as possible. I think that is the white flag. I give up. But please don't make me keep using.
Well, and here's a question: is that the only sink in your house? Probably not, right?
No,
wash your hands in another sink.
That's true.
Where there's a different soap. Of course,
She told
she's
me I could
going
do
to.
that.
By the time you get back to upstairs into your house, you're going to have like every sink's going to have pumpkin spice at it.
Yeah, but think of it this way. Like, for example, in the morning, I make a little bagel sandwich. And if you crack an egg and you get a little egg on your hand, you don't want to walk to the bathroom to wash your hands. You just want to use the sink right there to clean it up.
True. Yeah.
So this walking around the house and while you're cooking other things, it's not practical.
You're going to have a candle burning later today with pumpkin spice.
Oh, the candle. Don't tell her. Don't you dare give her that.
That's right. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Don't you dare.
Just go find some lemon soap and put lemon soap in the kitchen, and then there you go. You're good.
Love it. Honey, we're leaving the windows open today. Got to air this house out. Get rid of this pumpkin flavoring.
But at least the muffins did have to smell better than the soap. Right?
Kids love the muffins. She loved the muffins. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
If you have a leaky basement, it is not something anybody wants to have to deal with. But let's face it, it does happen. If you have a home, you live on top of what Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repairs has described to me as a swimming pool that's empty, like water is trying to find a way in. And over the years, concrete shifts. That's apparently pretty normal. Small cracks in the wall are normal. Not every crack you see is going to leak. But Matt knows the difference. Matt can eyeball these things and tell you immediately probably if it's a problem or if it's going to become a problem for you in the future. That's why I recommend you call him. He owns the company. He's the guy that comes over. He's a friend of mine. I know him. 314-227-9636. That's 314-227-9636. That gets you straight to Home Shield Foundation Repairs. Tell them Mark sent you. Go online, look at their videos on their website of how they do what they do. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
The Cards, the Giants.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 8:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
He's back. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Jimmy Kimmel will be on the air tonight. ABC bringing his show back less than a week after suspending it over controversial comments about Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin.
The company releasing a statement saying, quote, "We made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It's a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy."
That's Fox's Todd Piro. Some Kimmel fans and supporters were upset over his suspension, calling it censorship. Sinclair-owned ABC stations will not air Kimmel's show tonight. The man on trial charged in the second Trump assassination attempt will address the jury again this morning in closing arguments in a federal court in Florida as Ryan Ruth acts as his own lawyer. He called just 3 witnesses before arresting his defense. President Trump is warning pregnant women not to take Tylenol or generic acetaminophen
unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it.
The president's direct plea comes as his administration's top health officials warn of a potential link between Tylenol taken by pregnant women and infants with a rise in autism rates. The maker of Tylenol says sound science shows acetaminophen does not cause autism, and other researchers say the rise in autism rates is due to better understanding of diagnoses.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. President Trump is not there this morning. He's in New York, where he'll address world leaders at the UN General Assembly. The day after a high-level conference there in New York was critical of Israel as it keeps waging war against Hamas in Gaza.
Several U.S. allies like France, the U.K., Canada, and Australia moved to recognize Palestinian statehood. The U.S. boycotted the event, saying the recognition of a Palestinian state makes it harder to end the war in Gaza.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. America's listening to Fox News.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good.
And we mentioned the
For 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Dan Buck. It is 6:03 and 69 degrees. The White House reports they have intervened to stop Nippon Steel from shuttering their steel production at the Granite City plant. When Trump's Commerce Department allowed the Japanese steel company to purchase U.S. steel, Trump put in a national security measure. They call it a golden share clause, allowing them to intercede on any closure to protect national interest. The company has not given yet a production schedule since the White House announced that they were going to stop the Granite City closure. A former Edwardsville High School assistant principal was sentenced Monday to 4 years in prison on charges related to having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student. 53-year-old Aaron Hamilton Foley pled guilty to a felony of sexual assault as part of a plea deal. Police are asking the public's help in identifying a suspect in that Chinook shooting on Sunday afternoon. There's a 40-second video clip and a photo of the suspect that the police released yesterday of that fatal incident at the store in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood on Union. Police are asking anyone with information to call their homicide tip line. In a horrible, sad accident, an 8-year-old Bell Fountain neighbor boy was killed when the swing set he was playing on collapsed. The boy became unconscious shortly after he was freed under the cross beam, and he died of those injuries a short time later. In sports, a Monday night shootout it was in Baltimore last night as the Lions beat the Ravens 38-30. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, Ivan Herrera hit a late 2-run bomb to help the Birds beat the Giants 5-4. It is 6:05, 69 degrees. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
270 southbound past Doherty Ferry. We've got a stall. It's off to your right-hand side, partial right lane with that one. And then 64 eastbound just before Grand. We've got 3 left lanes taken out with a crash. It's getting heavy approaching there, but with the light volume, it's could be worse. So things are moving okay on your westbound side. It's just your eastbound side you're worried about through Grand. And the rest of the roadways are nice and clear for you. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Brought to you by your local Lennox Premier dealer, Scott Lee Heating.
Scott Lee Heating's Premier Dealer Distinction means you'll be working with the best the industry offers. Learn more about our special savings opportunities on Lennox products by calling 314-756-9444 or visit us online at scottleeheating.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We continue to deal with a cutoff low pressure system that sends waves of unsettled weather our way. We squeezed most of yesterday out dry, but not so much today. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. There will be scattered showers and thunderstorms around 80. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight, 68. Same story Wednesday. Mostly cloudy with scattered showers and thunderstorms, 77. We start to slowly dry out Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
6:06 and 69 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show and all the great shows here on 97.1 FM Talk anytime and anywhere. All you have to do is download that free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox alongside Dan Buck. Good morning to you, Dan.
Good morning, sir.
Now I'm going to speak in general because sometimes when it's a news story, you have to, I guess, be a little careful in some of the things you say because it could also be part of, court cases in the future. But in Edwardsville, there's an ex-principal, and this is on Fox 2, sentenced for a sexual relationship with teen.
A 17-year-old, yeah.
Why do adults do that in a school setting? I quite frankly do not understand that if you're getting into the education field, why you would think that any time at anywhere this would ever be appropriate. Why would they put themselves in that position, one? And if they, for whatever reason, have that sort of temptation, why wouldn't they remove themselves from that and think that maybe jail time is a better alternative? I just don't get it.
Yeah, and in this case, too, the female being the adult and the male being the student, that's somewhat unusual. No, oftentimes it's males who unfortunately.
More and more common.
Yeah, and in this case, It was part of a plea deal. She was sentenced yesterday to 4 years, but and pled guilty. The victim said as part of any plea deal, she had to admit guilt and say she was sorry. So in the hearing, that apparently occurred. But yeah, you can't put sense or logic, especially in these types of cases. And some people say, well, he was 17, he was almost an adult. No, it's still illegal. And as an adult, especially as an administrator, the HR rules better than anybody, right? And I just think that you gotta let common sense rule the day. It's sad, and find another teacher if you feel that compelled that you got to have relations. Find somebody over the age of 18. It doesn't. Yep. It's pretty cut and dry. The law is pretty clear. A minor is a minor, and I don't care if it's 12 or 17. She was 53 or is 53, yep. I believe.
53.
So it's just one of those cases. You shake your head and you think, how do they not know better? But they don't. So
they don't. And this happens a lot. And I think about too, different cases over the years. You wonder, okay, did this ever happen in my school and I just didn't know about it? Like, it happens so frequently now, you think this probably happens all over the place. And there's just people that don't get caught. And maybe they're just now finally getting caught doing these things because it's impossible to hide a digital trail. But before, when there was that no digital, is it possible that this was just happening all over the place where there were older people creeping on younger students and it just went either unnoticed or they didn't prosecute it, meaning they didn't go to the police, they held it internally, and we just didn't know about it because of that?
I think adults, though, also have to have their guard up. I think kids today, not that we weren't promiscuous, but I think today the sexualization of our kids, I mean, you know what I mean? Girls are they dress more provocative. They don't have the dress codes like we had when I was growing up. It was, you were just not allowed to show a lot of skin or wear, revealing clothes. Today, I mean, so, and I wonder too, how many times these cases start with the youth, being provocative, you just got to know the barriers. You got to know the draw the line in the sand. This is not appropriate and we're not going to go there. But some of these coaches, for example, get very close to girls, and things like that in terms of emotionally close. I mean, the field of battle is very intimate in some ways. You get to know these kids on a very intimate level. And it happens a lot in college where college coaches fall in love with coaches, especially grad assistants who aren't that much older than they are. So, I just think if you're in education today, if you're an administrator today, you just have to have that hard line of, I'm not going to allow myself to be put in those positions where anything inappropriate could happen. And unfortunately, those lines clearly aren't being drawn in many cases. So,
yeah. And I know it's kind of it's easier said than done, I should say. But if you ever feel that way, you got to remove yourself from that situation immediately, and don't even, if it even crosses your mind, you're in the wrong field.
Never ends good. It just doesn't end good.
Never ends good. Remove yourself from that. Do yourself a favor. All right, let's do the short list.
The Marc Cox short list.
Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol. During pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
So social media feeds are going two ways right now. One, we already knew this, and most people, especially pregnant women, were warned about this. And the other side of it is there's no connection, so you're just shaming people with autism.
Yeah.
So,
and the people who say that are the same people who said, trust the science, trust your government, do that. Oh, wait, not the government of Donald Trump and the government of RFK Jr., right? I mean, it's just hypocritical. 1 minute they're saying completely trust the CDC. Now they're saying don't listen to the CDC. It's remarkable.
One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine.
It's a big number, and what they went on to say basically was, what's the downside of listening to these people's concerns, these mothers' concerns? And that's the point they're trying to make. What you're saying is we're not allowed to listen to them because they have a concern is kind of an absurd gesture because you just don't agree with them.
Yeah, and the manufacturer of Tylenol, Kenvue's stock dropped 8 points yesterday. They lost almost more than 10% of their stock.
Wow.
How come Anthony Fauci's not in jail yet? So I've been getting that greeting for the last couple of years, and she's still expecting me to have miracles to, put Anthony Fauci away. And it's not like we haven't tried.
Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Might have to play that full clip. That's really good.
Great question, but there's a long list of people you wonder why they're not in jail yet.
When's the National Guard going to be arriving in Memphis? You said they'd be coming soon.
Yeah, very soon. And we're going to straighten that up, just like we straightened out Washington.
Okay.
Was he talking about Chicago
DC.
there? What was he? Or is
Memphis.
that the Memphis? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They have, if you all things considered, you look at the crime statistics in Washington, D.C., the National Guard was very effective. I can't really deny that. Now, you might not like the fact that they were there. You don't like when someone comes in and has to do the job that you were supposed to be doing for years and weren't. But he doesn't really have the same authority in Memphis that he does in Washington, D.C. That's the big question.
But he does have the support of a governor, and so
that's true.
And the police department is working hand in glove with them and excited to have them. And the people of Memphis have been pretty outspoken that they're ready for a change and they want their streets cleaned up. So it'll be interesting if they can get the same results in Washington. Other cities have got to take notice.
Yep. Imagine having some kind of ailment, and for the longest time, it wasn't, whatever you were taking wasn't working. And then someone says, you know what, we got something that'll work, and it's shown to work and it's guaranteed to work. And you're like, I don't like you, so I'm just going to keep with the ailment. I would rather be sick than have a healthy body. And that's kind of what's going on in a lot of fronts. If Donald Trump's associated with it, they'd rather be sick than have a healthy body. When it comes to the analogy here, it's cleaning up the streets and trying to get rid of this problem we have with crime and violence, people that are becoming victims with no accountability for the people that are committing these crimes. That's got to stop. They have a solution for it. National Guard can be a solution. You might not like the medicine, but it's going to get the job done, and you're going to be better off when it's over. So it's not going to be there forever. It's not a permanent solution, but it's going to be a way to try to clean things up and at least set you back on the right track. It's worth a try, honestly.
And being an objectionist is not enough. You can't just always be a doubter and say no. And if you don't like what's being done, give us your plan, right? What is your plan for cleaning up the streets and eliminating the crime and the violence that's occurring in your communities and neighborhoods? If you don't have it, then shut up. Right? I mean, if you're not willing to do something different when you know the crime is a problem and you just keep trying to defend crime, which is what they're doing, you can't knock Trump for trying to do something different in these communities. These are Americans who voted him in. He won he's the only politician in the world, in the United States, who was voted in by everybody in the country. Right? This isn't jurisdictional, and he has the right to go out and protect Americans as the president. And so far, he's 1 for 1. Let's see what happens in Memphis. If indeed they see a drastic drop in crime, other cities have to take notice. Yep. They have to.
Well,
we'll see.
We're going to have to talk more about this hour. I want to play that Rand Paul clip, the full one. It's really good. But joining us after the break is the National Defense Fellow at the Ronald Reagan Institute. And with the United States announcing that they're going to take control of TikTok and put it back on American servers, making it more secure, I don't know. I'm still skeptical. Presley Baker is going to join us after the break on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, we've got things slow going with 270, a stall working on your southbound side around I-70. It's off to the right side, but still causing a little bit of a backup. And then 64 eastbound before Grand, we've got 2 left lanes closed. To actually make that 3 left lanes are closed. It fluctuates between 2 and 3 as they need to clean this crash up on the left side. And things are heavy through that area. Westbound side seems to be looking the other way on this one, and things are moving well on the rest of the area roadways. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Liu. Yes, Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago Senator Dick Durbin. And now Dick Durbin has a new scheme, a government takeover of your credit card. Today, consumers have thousands of choices in credit cards, all with equal, strong security. But Durbin's plan is less competition and less security. And that means more risk for your credit and your identity. Tell Republicans in Congress, stop Dick Durbin's takeover of your credit card before it's too late.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hey, is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
The #1 fear of adults in retirement remains, will I outlive my money? The team at Ricken Financial want to help calm those fears with a complimentary income plan. This includes a deep dive into your retirement strategy to see what's working and where adjustments can be made. Call today for an initial no-cost income plan. 314-207-6211. That's 314-207-6211 or online at rickenfinancial.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And joining us this morning is Presley Baker. She is a former National Defense Fellow at the Ronald Reagan Institute and the Alexander Hamilton Society, co-host of the opinion-based podcast, The Casual Critics. Presley, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about TikTok. And we've seen some different news stories, headlines about how the United States wants to invest in it in order to make it more secure. Call me skeptical. I don't think anything that has ties to China could ever be fully secure. But what do you think?
I think that President Trump is serious about this deal, and I think he sees the importance of TikTok as a disseminator of information in the U.S., specifically with young Americans. And he's trying to do his best to make sure that he can maintain national security and keep TikTok live, which we've seen since January, since he's been in office, and has been making deals with the company to extend the ban and things like that. But I do think we are going to see a sale here, at least of American operations and how the algorithm is housed in America. I think it's going to be really interesting. He said that President Xi Jinping has agreed on Friday that TikTok operations should be sold to American investors. So I think we'll see.
How much do we know about the investors here in the United States? Do we know who this conglomerate of guys, they say there's multiple investors in the group. Do we know who they are yet?
Yeah, so we know that the private equity firm Silver Lake's involved, and there's been some talks that the Murdochs might be involved, Michael Dell, Larry Ellison, who's the Oracle co-founder. So we don't know exactly specifics on figures yet or players, but I do think you'll see a lot of the big media people and the big tech get involved in trying to purchase this.
And politics is such a big part now of social media. You've got TikTok, you've got X, you've got Truth, where political, and then on the left you've got Reddit. I'm trying to think of some of the other platforms that I don't engage with. But do you see TikTok as a critical tool? I mean, a critical platform that needs to stay in existence in the United States. So many people actually make a livelihood off of it, right?
Totally. There's lots of people that do make, like you said, their livelihood, have their career on TikTok. But I think even more so than that, it's how a lot of Americans get information now, and specifically Gen Z. And you have a lot of the major media and news networks and politicians that are on TikTok. So, I mean, you can get news from reputable sources on TikTok, but and we've really seen it impact elections. I mean, if you look at the last election cycle, a lot of it was run on TikTok, especially with Kamala HQ and President Trump making basically combating TikToks. And you see it now even with edits of President Trump and tons of people talking about Charlie Kirk. So I do think it's an important political tool, and that deserves to be safeguarded, but it deserves to be done in a way that American data is safe.
Yeah. See, I'm laughing because I don't see a lot of news on TikTok. I kind of stay away from it. But in my mind, I think there's Rachel Maddow doing a line dance trying to tell you how to vote. That doesn't sound appealing to me.
Yeah, I mean, you have the dancers, right? But then you have the reporters, and then they're not usually done at the same time, although that would be quite a sight. But yeah, I mean, you also see Caroline Leavitt and other conservative reporters and politicians on TikTok. So I do think it's shifted more towards like a balance, and that that people can get reputable information from it, even though there's a lot of bad information on it too.
And I think Trump has given these extensions and kept this dialogue and brought this ownership group together because he himself has had a ton of success and a ton of winning over young people through the TikTok platform.
Absolutely. I think especially with the first kind of ban of this presidency being right before the inauguration, and him really getting that deal through like right as he stepped into office. That was really big, I think, for him with the younger generation, especially.
Now, I know you've got the Baker Take podcast with your mom, which is, I've watched a couple episodes. Yes. They're very entertaining. You two, you both come at different topics from different viewpoints, generationally different viewpoints. But do you guys utilize TikTok? What platforms can we find the Baker Take on the podcast?
You can find us on TikTok. You can also find us on Instagram. So those are our two major ones. So if this doesn't go through and TikTok does get banned, we'll still be around. We'll be on Instagram Reels.
Okay. I know this is something that Charlie Kirk, I'm sure, would advocate for to the Trump administration. This is how you reach these type of people. But what would you say to someone like me that feels like a 40-year-old dinosaur that still hates it and rejects it and just doesn't want any part of it? How would you win someone like me over?
Well, I would say that like President Trump really wouldn't be advocating for this if he didn't think it could be done in a way that protects American national security. I think that we've seen on several other instances, President Trump really put his foot down on national security, and I think he means business here, and he's put together a group of people, and specifically Oracle, that's going to house and safeguard U.S. data. I think that this will be done in a way that protects the United States interests. And further than that, I think that everybody thinks that the younger generation has something that doesn't mean anything or that they don't like. So I don't think TikTok's going anywhere. And that's my other thing I'll say.
Awesome.
Okay. part of the Casual Critics and the Opinion-Based Podcast. And I know Dan watches your show with your mom, which sounds
Baker
awesome.
Take. Yeah, the Baker Take. Yeah, the podcast is hosted by Becky and Presley. We appreciate you taking time out of your early morning and joining us here on the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, they're a mother-daughter duo. They've been doing this for about 2 years now, year and a half. And very interesting topics. Everything from, the pains of wedding trends. I saw one TikTok that was about girl power, both on and off the sports field. Good stuff. Really good stuff.
Okay.
So.
Well, in the spirit of TikTok, I feel like in the next segment, if you're watching the live video feed, watch me as I dance to Rand Paul clips on 97.1 FM Talk.
I tell you why I love my friends at Rhino Shield. They are fantastic supporters of this program and this radio station. In fact, they're going to help sponsor our 25-year celebration coming up in October, which I hope you can take part in. In the meantime, there's plenty of time this year for you to get Rhino Shield on your house. I've done it, and I don't know why everybody wouldn't do it. If you've got anything on the outside of your house that you need to have covered up, repainted, aluminum, steel, brick, block, stucco, they can put Rhino Shield on there. It protects it. It seals it up 100%, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Now, they get their projects done ASAP, right? 3 to 6 weeks turnaround from commitment to installation. There's still plenty of time for this year, so get on the ball and get that free evaluation scheduled in September. Here's the phone number, 877-25-RHINO, or online anytime at 877-25rhino.com. Tell them Mark sent you. Marc Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Annie Fry, along with Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group for the last Protecting Your Retirement educational event of the year. It's Thursday, October 2nd at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering if your 401k and IRA will last through your lifetime? Do you have your own personalized structured income plan set up? The markets are hitting all-time highs. Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your gains without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss the last event of the year.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, at the Frontenac Hilton, Thursday, October 2nd at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
For 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Dan Buck. It's 6:30 and 69 degrees. Police are asking the public's help in identifying a suspect in that Schnucks shooting on Sunday afternoon. A 40-second video clip and a photo of the suspect was released from that fatal incident at the store in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood. Police are asking anyone with information to call their homicide tip line. One of the 4 Army soldiers killed in a helicopter crash in Washington state last week was from Missouri. The Army identified Chief Warrant Officer Andrew Culley of Spartan, Missouri, was among the 4 who were killed in that MH-60 Black Hawk helicopter crash that went down during maneuvers. The crash is still under investigation. In sports, a Monday night shootout in Baltimore as the Lions outlasted the Ravens 38-30, and the Cardinals of Von Herrera hit a late 2-run bomb to give the Birds a victory over the Giants 5-4. That's your headlines. It is 6:31, 69 degrees. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Eastbound side of 64 is heavy approaching Grand. We've got a couple of left lanes down with a crash. We had 3 left lanes down, which is why it's kind of bad through that area. We've got roadwork delays northbound on 55 that take you before Weber up to just about the river now. You've got northbound 270 pockets of delays that go off of 55 all the way up to Manchester, and just past 64, another delay. Southbound side seems to be okay there, and the rest of the roadways are in pretty decent shape. This report is sponsored by the Diamond Shop making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Ryan Recker filling in this week alongside Dan Buck. And right before the break, we were talking TikTok. And does that mean we're going to have to change the messaging of the radio station? Instead of 97.1 FM Talk, we're going to have to spell it, instead of T-A-L-K, we're going to spell it T-O-K from here on out to reach the kids?
What?
97.1 FM Talk, T-O-K.
Oh,
That's how we reach the young kids.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I wasn't following you there. I'm like, why would we spell talk T-O-K? Oh, TikTok. Gotcha.
Yeah. I know that's the Charlie Kirk strategy, and it
Long
worked.
way to get there. What's
look
that?
At the audience.
Did
I
he?
think management would love it, honestly.
Bringing in a younger demographic who would actually want to be educated on politics and what's going on in their world today. But, I don't know. It's certainly a challenge these days to get them to go to reliable news sources or go to places where there is, extended debate and discussion over major topics in the news. Kids want it short. They want it sweet. They want it in 9-second clips. And it's just kind of hard, I think, to get them into a long. That's why Charlie surprised me how well he did on college campuses, because it was such a long debate. He would go 3 hours normally at most of his prove me wrong type, setups but kids would stay. It was amazing to me to watch the crowds and how those kids would stay engaged with him when they won't stay engaged on anything longer than about 15 minutes. They have short attention spans. I have some friends who are school teachers. They just said it's amazing how short these kids' attention spans have become. That they need to break their lessons up into little short 10, 15 second increments in order to get a message across. They can't have long format really anything in school or they lose the kids. So
yep.
Yeah.
Different back in the day. You went to a Catholic school in St. Louis. You knew what the nuns would do to get your attention.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got my knuckles cracked a few times and yeah. Sister Benita. We called her Benita Bear. She was a tough cookie. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you went to the Catholic school. My dad went to a Catholic school as well. I'll have to ask him which one it was again. Maybe you guys knew each other. Would that be something? But he told us of the nuns that would, take that sort of punishment. And boy, did he get punished. He said, and the thing he always says was, I deserved it.
Yeah. I mean, I was good for at least 1 or 2 spankings every year too, from the principal.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. The principal, he had the paddle with the holes in it so that we cut down the wind resistance so he could be able to get more velocity into his swing. Oh yeah. And then he'd leave these little, because the paddle would hit you, but he'd leave these little welts where the holes were. Yeah. And you know what? It always got my attention. I usually didn't do whatever got me to that point. I never did that again. I'll tell you the greatest punishment. I got in a playground fight during a flag football. We played during recess. And me and this kid named Mike Leary lived right across the street from me, got in a fight on the parking lot over a football game. He brought us in and put 16-ounce boxing gloves on us. You could never do this today. But he took us out into a dark gym, the gymnasium, no lights on. There was just daylight coming through the lights. And he said, okay, you two, you like fighting so much, just fight each other until you're done. And we both looked at him, looked at each other. We go, okay, let's go. Well, if you've ever swung a 16-ounce glove on your hand, we were what, 5th grade, 4th grade, and we hit each other. First of all, getting hit by is like getting hit by a pillow, right? I mean, It's not going to hurt you. And we bopped each other for probably a good minute and a half, 2 minutes, going at it pretty good. And we just both got so exhausted. We both, time out, we need a break. And, we kind of looked at each other and goes, are you done? Are you two done? Are we done now? Are we not going to fight anymore? This is stupid, right? And we just kind of went, yeah. Well, Mike Leary and I were best friends all the way through high school after that,
Oh, that's great.
And
I love that.
Yeah. But I was like, you couldn't even think about doing something like that today. Or people would say it's child abuse. How dare you promote fighting? And well, we were just, 5th grade kids with way too much energy, and he knew this would help get it out and get our anger out, and we were done, and we weren't going to hurt it, and we were never going to hurt each other with 16-ounce gloves on. But today,
at that age,
this day and age, that would be considered child abuse, I'm sure. And our principal's still alive. He's in his 80s, and just I watch his videos. He is still so active and great guy. Mr. Delorier was his name, and just had great respect for him. Kim Delorier, just a superb man, and he used some of those old school ways of disciplining, but you respected it, and you never wanted to go see Mr. D if you were in trouble.
What you don't know is the janitor was there because it was dark. You didn't see him, and he was taking action on that fight. So
my money's on that skinny kid, me. Yeah.
Hey, did you hear Rand Paul? He gave a great story about coming home to his wife and what his wife says to him when he gets back from the road. I mean, when you live in Kentucky and you travel to DC often, there's a certain way that you would hope your wife shows her affection, like, oh, honey, come in. It's so good to see you again. Nope. Rand Paul's wife has a different reaction. This is clip number 9.
I travel to Washington every Monday and then back home at the end of the week. And I get home and I expect, a hug, a kiss, maybe a martini. When I get to the door, I knock on the door and she greets me. And you know what she asks me? How come Anthony Fauci's not in jail yet? So I've been getting that greeting for the last couple of years, and she's still expecting me to have miracles to, put Anthony Fauci away. And it's not like we haven't tried. I, sent 2 official letters to the Department of Justice under Biden. I've resent those under President Trump as well. But it has been made more difficult, since he was pardoned by the auto pen. Who knew an auto pen, that a machine could pardon someone? But it has been made more difficult. But it is something that the truth of the matter and the truth about what went on is incredibly important.
Wow.
That's Dr. Rand Paul looking at Dr.
Yeah.
Fauci.
Dude, there's so many things, not just about the COVID crisis and stuff, but just so many criminal acts that we seem to have sound evidence on. We have, a lot, just the Biden family, the crime family issues, that the fact no one has gone to jail yet, not one perp walk out of a government building. Think of all of the fraud that was uncovered by Doge. Just start there, right? How many prosecutions should be coming out of the misappropriation of federal funds, right? And the complete lying and covering up and all of the deceit and the money going to these PACs that were then funneled back to these lawmakers. I mean, the money trail, follow the money, and you could get convictions, you would think, all day long. But it's been 9 months now, or what are we in? Yeah, the 9th month since President Trump took over, and we haven't had a single arrest of a major lawmaker yet. And to me, that's dumbfounding. I don't get it. I don't understand why at least some grand juries being, called and trying to prosecute some of these crimes. Now there was a report that came out as early as yesterday that Pam Bondi is looking at all of the Doge fraud and that they're looking into it, but she just hasn't executed on any criminal charges. I'm dumbfounded. I really am. And I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people in our audience going, when are we going to see people arrested and put in handcuffs and walked away and put on trial and locked away to send a message that this kind of activity will never happen again in our government? Unfortunately, I think everyone's starting to think, well, it's just, a way of life, and we're just going to have to get used to it because it's going to continue until there's consequences.
Yeah, we keep finding more evidence that there was even more money being laundered with Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, of course, implicated with that. But we never really fully resolved the whole Ashley Biden stuff. That was so weird. And then, of course, Joe Biden's brother, money coming in to other family members. What's up with that? All of these pardons coming in at the last second. Auto pen. Does the president at that time even know it was happening? If the president didn't authorize it or know it was happening, is it valid? These things are just kind of on the burner.
How is that not illegal? How can you legally put the name of a president using an auto pen without his approval? To me, that's fraud, right? That in some of the things that were being signed makes it treason because it was a national act. You were basically saying the president was approving something that he didn't. That is as fraudulent as it gets. That alone, that could be one of the biggest, I think, scandals in American political history, that someone or some people were using the auto pen to execute presidential orders without the president's consent. Is that not massive? I mean,
well, at the very least, elder abuse, because let's say you did this to an elderly parent of yours and you're writing checks on their behalf out of their account into your account. They would look at that as fraud, elder abuse. They would prosecute something like that. I don't see how you can look at the authority the president is given and what was used under that authority as someone associated with him without him knowing it's happening and not apply it the same way.
And
I really don't know.
How about the 3,000 drug dealers who were let go through pardons? Walk me through that. Who were these people? Why were they pardoned? What are you talking about? How in the world did that occur? Oh, it just so happens that maybe Hunter Biden has some ties to drug pens,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
It's mind blowing to me that we have not done a full investigation of that auto pen. Just mind blowing.
I've never really heard that aspect of it, but I'll tell you, how deep this goes is anyone's guess. And I think we got a pretty good indication it goes deep. Coming up after the break in other news, we'll continue on with the Marc Cox Morning Show. Marc Cox out this week. Ryan Recker and Dan Buck with you on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, so we've got delays on if you're headed 64 eastbound just before Grand because of a crash in the two left lanes. They're still clearing that up as we speak. That's been there for a while now. And then we've got new stuff on eastbound 70 just before 79. Two left lanes are now taken out with this other crash that just popped up. And then we've got 55 northbound just past Route Z. A right lane is taken out with another crash. And then we're seeing some delays with another crash on 70 at 79. Again, that's those two left lanes. And then 44 eastbound past Bulls. We've got a right lane down with the roadwork and a stalled vehicle in that same roadwork zone. So things are slowing through that area of 270 northbound, starting to slow just in general, up from 55 to just past Manchester. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
A Midwestern mom from Edwardsville, Illinois, rooted in faith, grounded in family. Annie Fry brings common sense and conviction to the conversation. The Annie Fry Show, weekdays at noon on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
This is my favorite time of the year to finally enjoy our outdoor spaces because it's getting to the point where it's not too hot outside or it's not too cold, but you want an outdoor space that you actually can relax in, right? That's built to last. Lakeside Renovation and Design, they do basically everything. They could build you a custom deck. Maybe you've been wanting a screened-in porch, covered patio so that you can enjoy it even when it's raining. You can sit out there and drink your morning coffee, listen to our show. They can do all that for you. They use these durable, low-maintenance materials like, for example, composite decking and aluminum railings, and they're built to last. That's what I really appreciate about them is that they make sure that they use these quality materials. This is a family-owned company, been doing this here in the St. Louis area for close to 30 years. A+ rating from the BBB. Go look at how many 5-star reviews they have. You'll understand why so many people want to partner with the company Lakeside Renovation and Design. Again, don't just wait until the spring to plan for the space that you want to enjoy next year. Start now with a free consultation. Go to lakesiderd.com.
The Cards, the Giants.
Saipan Cancer Center game time 8:45. Play ball. Saipan Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And you know, your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com. and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Marc.com/free.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news,
you never know when your medical expertise can come in handy. Get this story out of Kentucky. A nurse heading to work at the Letcher County Health Department hears some noises coming out of a dumpster near her office as she parked her car. Get this. No. There was apparently next door to the health department a moonshine distillery, and they had dumped a bunch of fermented peaches and moonshine in this dumpster. A raccoon was drunk and drowning in it. Actually, there was 3 raccoons in there, but one of them was literally like passed out. He was so drunk. She got him out of the dumpster using a broom and resuscitated him and literally gave him CPR mouth to mouth and got the raccoon living again. He had basically drowned himself drunk, dead, and she brought him back to life. Good news for the raccoon, and kudos to Misty Combs, the nurse who saved his life.
Ain't doing that.
The drunk raccoon, dumpster diving drunk.
Yeah,
drunk raccoon.
Put your mouth on a rabid raccoon.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but housing costs are rising, and if you're young and trying to get into the game now, it's not easy. So they did a survey on this, and about 486,000 people in the United States live full-time in an RV, which appears to be more than twice as many as 2021, which means people are looking at RVs as an alternative to apartment living.
Dude, I do it all day long. My wife would never do it, but I would all day.
I know Mark would probably do it too.
I would.
My wife would do it.
Would she?
She loves it. We've got a camper. We go camping.
Dude, I would love to have a nice RV, travel around the country, live in it. Yeah, totally would do it. My wife, not a chance in heck. My wife would.
It's an alternative to the high prices. I couldn't convince my wife to do this. Now, keep in mind, some people do it out of desperation, and it's better than living on a tent on the ground. But still, I don't see myself doing this.
Well,
hopefully trends change.
Dude, if you do the math, I mean, if you get a really nice camper for $80,000, I mean, a drivable camper, you could live in it for, a payment of about $1,100 a month. I mean, that's pretty cheap, right? I mean,
Sky talk.
Yeah,
you're not convincing the wife.
Exactly. Hey, it's actually a tragic story, but you talk about not sweating the small stuff. A land care worker, a guy named Tanner Staggs, was just working in Dayton, Ohio, doing his job, out cutting the grass. He's mowing and throws some grass and some dirt up on a guy's car, 36-year-old guy who lived in the neighborhood.
Oh boy.
He comes out, they get in an argument over the grass clippings on the car, shoots him dead. I kid you not. He shot him once in the chest, killed him on the spot. I am like, are you kidding me? Talk about sweating the small stuff and losing your mind over something. Just take the grass clippings off your car. What is the big deal? Anyway, it's just senseless out there. Use common sense, people. It's kind of like road rage. In this case, grass clipping rage. It's ridiculous. It's sad.
Well, there was a study in South Carolina that found about 88% of our daily life runs on autopilots. So if you think about all the things you do without thinking, you wake up, brush your teeth, eat breakfast, drive to work, things like that. I know there's that period of time. Produce a radio show, make coffee at the radio station, tease the next break, things like that. Things that you just do, even when you're working, seem to be on autopilot. You're checking your emails, but you're not really thinking about anything that's in it. You're just worried about clearing off the inbox. They say 88% of what you do, your daily actions, are routine and automatic. Your body's on autopilot. It seems a little high, but they're saying that's probably where most people sit.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, driving a car, walking, talking, drinking. I mean, all that stuff's autopilot, right? You don't think about it. You just do it.
Exactly.
It's wild. Hey, quick.
Todd.
Go ahead. You got one?
I was going to say Todd Piro joining us next hour. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, Todd's awesome. And we also have Mark Walters, our 2A Tuesdays coming up, too, on the next hour, all coming up on the Marc Cox Morning Show.
You know, it's a sad truth. A lot of people end up putting expenses on credit cards, maybe a vacation, maybe a big trip somewhere that you had to take at the last minute and you threw it on a credit card. If you don't pay those off, you're going to end up with 25, 30% interest rates on that, and it can take years to take care of. Now, my friends at Golden Oak Lending, their mortgage counselors can walk you through this, but if you own a home, you have equity sitting there in it, they can help you get some of that cash out, refinance at a low rate, and pay off those high interest rate credit cards. Get that debt out of the way. You don't want to sustain that. Could take years to pay off. You refinance, you save money all the way around, because for 2 months, usually you don't have a payment, and then you're not sending $1,000 a month to a credit card somewhere. That's money back in your pocket. Call them at 314-567-GOLD. Go online to goldenoaklending.com. Their NMLS number is 114937.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you are still healthy and can qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
President Trump will soon take the world stage. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
And he will articulate his straightforward and constructive vision for the world.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. The president is supposed to start his speech late next hour at the UN General Assembly in New York. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson's there.
One issue that will continue to dominate here this week are countries that recognize a Palestinian state. Today, roughly 150 of the 193 UN member states do. Now, here are some close U.S. allies that recently came forward. Britain, Australia, Canada, Portugal, and France.
The Trump administration opposes that, supporting Israel, which keeps waging war in Gaza against Hamas, which Fox has learned has written a letter to the president, pushing for a 60-day pause in fighting in exchange for half the hostages. Secretary of State Marco Rubio just told Fox.
We haven't seen the letter. We don't have that letter. And even if we did, it wouldn't matter. The president has already made clear he's not interested in 60 days, 10 people. He wants all the hostages out, all 48, including the 20 who are alive.
President Trump will meet at the UN with Arab leaders trying to stop that war. President Trump also urging pregnant women not to take Tylenol or generic acetaminophen, claiming it can be associated with a greater risk of autism. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says
the FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change.
The maker of Tylenol disputes all this. Kenvue, in a statement, says sound science clearly shows taking acetaminophen does not cause autism. Closing arguments are this morning at the trial for the man charged in the second Trump assassination attempt last year.
Ryan Ruth got through all of his witnesses in just one day. Acting as his own attorney, Ruth called on 3 before resting his defense.
Fox's Dana Marie McNichol outside the federal court in Fort Pierce, Florida. Jimmy Kimmel's show will be back on the air tonight. ABC reinstating it less than a week after suspending Kimmel over comments about Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. America's listening to Fox News.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That fun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
It's 7:03 and 68 degrees. I'm Dan Buck, 97.1 FM Talk News. The White House reports that they have intervened to stop Nippon Steel from shutting down their steel production at the Granite City plant. When Trump's Commerce Department allowed the Japanese steel company to purchase U.S. steel, Trump put in a national security measure. They called it the Golden Share Clause, allowing them to intercede on any closures to protect national interests. The company has not given a production schedule or a response since the White House announced that they are going to stop the Granite City closure. A former Edwardsville High School assistant principal was sentenced Monday to 4 years in prison on charges related to having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student. 53-year-old Aaron Hamilton Foley pled guilty to a felony of sexual assault as part of a plea deal. Police are asking the public's help in identifying a suspect in the Chinook shooting on Sunday afternoon. A 40-second video clip and a photo of the suspect was released from that fatal incident in the store in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood on Union. Police are asking anyone with information to call their homicide tip line. In a horrible, sad accident, an 8-year-old Bell Fountain neighbor's boy was killed when the swing set he was playing on collapsed. The boy became unconscious shortly after he was freed from under the crossbeam and died of his injuries a short time later. In sports, a Monday night shootout in Detroit as the Lions, they played that game in Baltimore, but the Lions outlasted the Ravens 38-30. The Cardinals' Ivan Herrera hit a 2-run homer late in the game to give the Birds a win over the Giants 5-4. It is 7:05 and 69 degrees. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Got some delays on 270 northbound, spots from 55 to 64, southbound side from Olive to 64, 170 southbound slow approaching 64, 70 westbound from 367 to Lucas Hunt a bit tight, eastbound side heavy from 64 to 79. We had an earlier crash there, 64 eastbound slow from 170 to Big Bend, 55 northbound slow from Bayless, just before Bayless up to Virginia, and 44 eastbound slow approaching Hampton. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We continue to deal with a cut-off low-pressure system that sends waves of unsettled weather our way. We squeezed most of yesterday out dry, but not so much today. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. There will be scattered showers and thunderstorms around 80. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight, 68. Same story Wednesday, mostly cloudy with scattered showers and thunderstorms, 77. We start to slowly dry out Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you anytime, anywhere. All you have to do is download that Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox along with Dan Buck. And there's been a lot that goes on around the world. We'll probably mention this, that Jimmy Kimmel will be back tonight, but not on all stations. There's still some local ABC affiliates, including the one here in St. Louis, that will preempt their programming because it doesn't look like Jimmy Kimmel has any remorse or would care to even apologize for the insensitive comments. Okay, whatever, but we'll see how that's played off. And I tell you that Sinclair and Nexstar, they're not happy with him still, so I don't know how long those will last, but they could be looking for maybe permanent programming as long as Jimmy Kimmel stays stubborn there. But, there's another story out of Canada, and this is kind of interesting because a couple of years ago, there were 2 teachers that were punished for not affirming LGBTQ issues. Their case was brought up, and this is in Canada, by the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Keep in mind, the Constitution of the United States is different than that in Canada, but still, they decided to represent these 2 teachers. And the Ontario Labor Relations Board ruled that they can move forward with their wrongful termination case. You want to hear kind of a summary of what got them fired? This is kind of interesting. Clip number 13.
Matt's school suspended him from his grade 7 and 8 classes in relation to social media posts that were made about him. He didn't even have any sort of public social media profiles at the time. His wife found a pride poster taped to the front door of her kindergarten classroom without her consent. And before class, she moved the poster to a classroom cabinet. Later that morning, the principal called her in and suspended her, pending an investigation. They dragged that on for 6 months. Finally, on October 26, 2023, the Renfrew County District School Board fired both of them for not celebrating and affirming LGBTQ issues. Matt, rightfully so, said, "We're seeing a culture where if you don't actively affirm certain views, you're at risk."
Unbelievable. That is just absolutely unbelievable. It's not freedom of speech. That's forced speech, right? They're being forced to celebrate the LGBTQ in their classroom. That's amazing to me. It's in Canada now, grant you,
right.
But it's coming this way, I'm sure.
He was fired for comments made about him.
Yes.
And
he
was fired.
He didn't even
because
have a
she didn't want
public
the pride flag.
Yeah, and he didn't have a public
door.
account. He literally got fired for social media about things said about him. How about that?
And luckily, there's someone representing him. It's been a couple of years in the making, but that kind of is where they are in Canada. But when you say it's unbelievable, no, I believe it because that's Canada right now. It's been like that for years.
That's just mind-blowing. They were literally in the school board documents. It said for not celebrating and affirming LGBTQ issues. So not only do you have to tolerate it, not only do you not have the ability or the voice to speak against it, but you now have to celebrate and affirm it in order to keep your job in a Canadian school. That's where we're at, folks. So, I mean, good for them to seek legal support. Good for the Labor Relations Board up there, they have a different name, but that's what it is, saying that they have a right to go to court after the district and lower courts had said that they should throw the case out for wrongful termination. Now it's going to proceed to a courtroom, but in Canada, who knows what a jury of their peers will think, or a judge, right?
Well, when they say that they were let go because they weren't celebrating it, that means literally they wanted to sit this out. They had no comment. And because they had no comment, they were fired because this whole idea that your silence is deafening or whatever the liberals say. But the idea that they just didn't want to participate in it was enough to get them fired shows you just how far it's gone in Canada when it comes to its lack of free speech. You're right. Forced compelled speech is what they want to use to govern the people there, which is really ridiculous.
And by the way, it's Matt and Nicole Alexander is the names, and I assume they're husband and wife. But But Nicole, the woman who took the poster down off of her door, is a kindergarten teacher.
Yes.
And just said, I didn't feel like sexuality and promoting, LGBTQ values to kindergartners was necessary. I have other things. I'm trying to teach them their ABCs, right? I'm trying to teach them to go potty when they're supposed to go potty. Right. I mean,
exactly.
And we're going to be talking about sexuality and having it promoted on the doorway leading into their classroom. Good for them. And again, they didn't even speak out against it. They just merely were not going to celebrate and support it. That's all. They didn't say anything. They didn't say anything adverse or ill-willed towards the LGBTQ community. They just felt like the classroom wasn't a place that they should be promoting it. And this is what they get. Unbelievable.
All right.
Yeah. They get fired. Right.
Let's go to the short list.
Here we go.
The Marc Cox short list.
Charlie's killer lives with a guy who's transgender. The Annunciation shooter was transgender. The Covenant shooter was transgender. Should the FBI be investigating transgender extremists?
We're looking at that, and it seems like, is that just what's the reason for it?
What's the reason for it? That's the question. What's the reason for it?
Every day we have to call 911.
The manager of this Dunkin' Donuts asking we not show his face, citing safety concerns.
20-25 kids you will see them every day. Assaulting people, spitting on the people, breaking the glasses.
This is at Dunkin' Donuts in Baltimore, and the owner, or at least the worker, is afraid that these gang of children will come and make things worse for him on the job or even hurt him. That's what we're talking about in Baltimore. And keep in mind, St. Louis and Baltimore kind of looked at as very similar cities, demographic size-wise, and both of them are going through really hard times. And I'm guessing if you were to do something here in St. Louis, you'd find similar instances happening here.
Absolutely.
Hey, I just canceled my Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions, and they asked me why. I hit other, and I wrote, because I believe in the First Amendment, reinstate Jimmy Kimmel.
She did it. She fixed everything by canceling her Disney
Is that
Plus.
the Sex and the City woman?
Yeah, that's Cynthia Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
She fixed it all. That's all she had to do, and everything's back.
He's back. You did it, Cynthia.
You did it.
Way to go.
The reality is that you were the vice president. You were swearing up and down that you were in the room for all the major decisions. And then come to find out, you're acknowledging that was not the case. Now that you're trying to sell a book and we're hearing a totally different tune, all I'm trying to say to you is that folks are going to remember that. And you weren't that strong of a candidate before, respectfully.
I love it. Stephen A. on Kamala Harris there. That's great.
Isn't it amazing how Democrats are so quick to throw people under the bus when they're done with them? Right. I mean, all of this information now coming out about Joe Biden and the, very cantankerous relationship with Kamala and the mean-spirited phone calls that he gave to her right before the debate, all this coming out in her book. But remember, they were just such great comrades, and he was so sharp and he was so smart. And, at the time they need each other, they'll put up a big facade. The minute they don't need each other anymore, it's time to throw them under the bus. And it's just, it's a common thing in the Democratic Party. If you see when somebody either goes astray, goes off talking points, whatever, suddenly they go from being the best ally to their worst enemy. And now she's vilifying Joe Biden in this book. It's amazing to me. Does she really think too that she's still got a shot at the 2028 nomination?
Maybe.
Does she really?
I don't know. I think that in her mind, she disassociates herself enough from her own self. Maybe this is looked at as like an bizarro world version of Kamala Harris, where she made the right moves. So she's like, I'll write this book, and this person that made all the wrong moves, which was still her, then we'll say, no, that's the scarecrow version of me. I'm the real Kamala Harris now. Maybe she's going to try to reinvent herself to make that case.
Yeah.
But it's still her. I mean, it's still 100% her, and she can't escape that.
Yes.
We have a Todd Piro coming on, which is pretty exciting.
Todd's awesome. Fox News host. And he's on that early morning show. That's got to be a killer schedule too. Isn't he on from like 3 to 5 or something like that Eastern time? That's a brutal thing, but he always makes time for our show once a week. And he's going to be coming up in the next segment, right?
Yep. Mark Walters, 2A Tuesday, coming up this hour too on the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
And 270 northbound slow spots from 55 to 64. Southbound side hits the brakes from Olive to 64. 170 southbound slow approaching 64. 70 some problems westbound. 367 to Lucas Hunt. You're slow going with a crash on the right shoulder. And eastbound side heavy from 64 to 79 from an earlier stall. 64 eastbound slow from 170 to Big Bend. 55 northbound slow before Bayless up to Virginia. And 44 eastbound slow approaching Hampton. This report is sponsored by Point Pest Control, Point with an E, Pest Control. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Annie here, and I can proudly say no more spiders in my home. I use Point Pest Control 4 times a year, and I haven't seen any, not a single one, since they've been in my home. Mention Annie and get 10% on top of any other special. Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
There are things in life that you have to know for certain. Sue Thomas with you. And one of those is the money that we have saved for retirement enough to make it through our retirement? Oh, you have got to have a written financial retirement plan in place. This is why I like Financial and Tax Architects approach. Their idea is, okay, let's teach you a few things about how retirement works, some tax efficient strategies, how to deal with saving for any kind of healthcare issues you've got coming up in retirement. And then we'll sit down with you, see what you've got, customize a plan specifically to your goals and to your values based on what you've got. And I just think that's the way to go. So go online and register for a class. F as in Frank, FTA-RIA.com, FTA-RIA.com. Register for a class, go see what you think, and get a leg up on retirement.
Make the most of fall and have an outdoor space that you actually love that's built to last. Lakeside Renovation and Design builds custom decks, screened-in porches, covered patios, and they use these durable, low-maintenance materials like composite decking and aluminum railings. They're going to make sure you have the perfect setup so you can host your family and friends for backyard barbecues or just sit outside and enjoy the morning coffee even when it's raining. Don't wait until the spring to start planning the space that you want to enjoy next year. Start with a free consultation. Visit lakesiderd.com, lakesiderd.com.
Get ready, because here they come.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's Beatlemania all over again with the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute to the Beatles. Entertainment Tonight says seeing the Fab Four is just like seeing the Beatles.
Hey Jude.
The Fab Four takes you through the 60s with the music that changed our lives. It's a show you won't want to miss.
Saturday, October 4th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon.
Something tells me I'm into something good.
And the Lovin' Spoonful.
Do you believe in magic?
Saturday, October 25th at the Family Arena with the Hollies' greatest hits, starring Terry Sylvester. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon and the Lovin' Spoonful.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Truth, backbone. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox with Dan Buck, and joining us this morning, host of Fox and Friends First, Todd Piro. Good morning to you, sir.
I don't even know what to do if you guys don't have my theme music.
I know. We were going to do it.
Do I talk?
Well, and we were going to do it, and then I thought, well, it's kind of interactive, and only Mark knows how to do that. Mark's on vacation this week, so you got the two B players here.
I'm totally thrown off. I'm just going to stumble through this. First of all, can I make one point? I don't know if you guys can hear the commercials that play, but the commercials for the concerts that you guys just played really targeting the demo. Really aiming for the demo. You realize that those concerts are literally aimed at my mom, and my mom is 78 years old. Like, if my mom heard this, she'd be like, "Oh, I love those guys. I'd go to see that show." Again, aim younger. 78 is not really where you make your money.
No, well, I'm telling you, we were just talking about this because we're FM Talk, and we thought we were going to rebrand the station FM Talk, spelled TOK, like TikTok. So during the commercials, if we dance to the Beatles tribute, maybe that could attract a younger audience.
I'm okay with the Beatles. The Beatles are universal. But the Herman's Hermits and that stuff, like I hear my mom talk about, like she'll talk about that group coming to like their local theater in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and be like, we're going to go see him. I was like, you're going by yourself.
We're trying to introduce that great music of that era to a younger generation. That's what we're trying to do here, Todd.
Another way of talking. That's another way of going
there you
about
go.
it.
Hey, Todd,
this might be the first time you get the fill-in host fired. Like before we end the show.
My goal. Cox doesn't want any competition.
That's right.
Basically, this is all a plan. This is all a pre-setup from Mark.
Hey, Todd, on Sunday, one of the most moving tributes, really not a funeral at all, really a celebration, some calling it a revival. So many of your colleagues, were you able to get out to Arizona for that service or no?
I was not, but again, to your point, so many of my colleagues were able to go, and you're right. I mean, every word that you just used to describe it, completely appropriate. And what I find fascinating are the people that didn't like it.
Yeah,
and I feel that there is definitely a subset of our country that reads the line in the Constitution that talks about separation of church and state and reads that to mean we really can't have any God anywhere because it doesn't comport with their view of the country. My problem with that is that when you have God in your life, by and large, you lead a better life. And that cumulatively is better for the country, because if you're leading a better life, a God-centered life, a Christ-filled life, you're going to be a better human by and large. That's what the data shows. And if we have more better humans, our country is going to be better. And so I just feel like they cut their nose off to spite their face. They just want to make this point so badly, and they're willing to watch our country and, quite frankly, their own lives suffer because of it.
Yeah, I've said it many times, Todd. I don't think we've ever seen a more definitive time in America where you can distinctly see the difference between the left and the right than since Charlie's death. It has just been so evident. And the darkness, I say this is not an R&D thing. This is not a conservative liberal thing. There is a movement of hatred and evil and darkness in this country that's been exposed, and it's continually being exposed. Charlie did it every day on college campuses, but this movement that's going on now in America, it's hard to say where it's going to go, but it's going to go somewhere, and it's going to go big. If these 70,000 schools, universities, churches, high schools truly do start TPUSA, this movement could become game changing for this country, to return us back to, a faith-centered movement. And like you said, we're not supposed to be a nation of freedom from religion. It's a freedom of religion. And I think that's where people have lost their way, and the hatred and the visceral attitudes that we've seen from the left here, it really has exposed them, I think. And people, who were in the middle are going, hey, I'm no longer in the middle. That side's crazy.
And also the youth. I mean,
yes.
So much of where we are as a society is because the left had a stranglehold on the youth for years. And it wasn't until, I don't know, maybe you got a job and you said, wow, I'm paying 87% of my salary in taxes, that like people in my generation were like, I'm going to be a Republican now. Whereas the younger generations, millennials and a little bit younger, they were indoctrinated with completely far left stuff. So the Charlie Kirks of the world, really have aimed to undo that. So you have to imagine the Gen Alphas and younger, if these kind of institutions are at their schools we reported last week it was 30,000, then we reported this week 70,000, like you said. If you get to them early, our country could be in really good shape. And sort of undo the Marxist ideologies that have been taught now for decades.
Yeah. And I think too, like when you're young and you are on a college campus and you have a bunch of young people that say we have to be anything but traditional, we have to go against the grain and whatever is cultural, and we have to lean into what we would call woke. Then now I think moments like this, a lot of people, especially at that age, look at traditional and they say, okay, it's tested, it's stable. My life would be a lot better if I were to maybe, look at the culture as a whole and realize that there is a better path for me. And they want that. So I'm kind of encouraging to see young people want to go down a path where they can actually live a positive life and they don't have to worry about, hey, I'm just going to get outraged at whatever the next thing is, because that's the path they're on now.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's what is so comforting about what we saw, beyond the comfort of those that are mourning Charlie, including his wife and so many of his followers, is what it means going forward. It's not going to be the rote indoctrination that we saw. It's people yearning for more. And hopefully, the revival, that's the revival that you started this segment with. Hopefully that is not just a revival like a one-time deal that we saw on Sunday, but a revival of what it means to be an American grounded in faith.
Todd, we got about 30 seconds. Are you as frustrated as many of us are about the fact we still are not seeing any convictions with all the evidence from Doge, all the evidence that has been presented around COVID, different things that nobody in the federal government has been charged yet?
Yeah, I mean, look, no matter Doge, no matter Trump, the federal government is a slow slog. So whether it's the money or whether it's prosecutions like you're referencing, I think we were all naive to think it could happen quickly. Firings, he can fire people, and then that could get tied up in court.
Very good. Yep.
Otherwise, no.
Todd Piro,
Todd.
Fox and Friends First. We do appreciate you, sir. Have a great day.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Tingling or numb feet? Pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, DC. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
It is 7:30 and right now 69 degrees. I'm Dan Bach, the News Talk 97.1 FM Talk. Got to get my script up here. Here we go. Police are asking the public's help in identifying a suspect in the Schnucks shooting on Sunday afternoon. A 40-second video clip and a photo of a suspect was released from that fatal incident at the store in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood. Police are asking anyone with information about the suspect to call the homicide tip line. One of 4 Army soldiers that were killed in a helicopter crash in Washington state last week was from Missouri. The Army identified Chief Warrant Officer Andrew Culley of Sparta, Missouri, as one of the 4 killed when that MH-60 Black Hawk helicopter went down while on maneuvers. The crash is still under investigation. In sports, a Monday night shootout in Baltimore. The Lions outlasted the Ravens 38-30, and the Cardinals won out west 5-4 over the Giants. That's our headline, 7:31. It's 69 degrees. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, so things are slow. 270 northbound, 55 to 64 southbound side from Page down to 64. 170 southbound, slow spots from Olive to 64. Eastbound 64, slow spots from 270 over to Big Bend. Westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend. And 55 northbound, slow before Bayless through the work zone up to Virginia. This report is sponsored by The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Waterproofing, crack repair, concrete leveling, you name it, and Home Shield Foundation Repairs can take care of it if it deals with the foundation of your home. All of those things fall in line there, and my friend Matt Hayes is just an expert in all of it. I mean, he can absolutely fix it, and in many cases, if it's waterproofing, give you a lifetime warranty. That means no more sweating in the middle of the night when you hear thunder and you know it's raining outside, because you know you're probably going to have water in the basement the next morning. No reason to put up with that. Get it fixed now, once and for all. Get it fixed permanently. He can also fix those low-level areas in your driveway or a sidewalk that have started to sink without having the costly repair of having to dig it up and repair all that concrete. He just sticks polyurethane under there and levels it up. It's very cost efficient. Call him at 314-227-9636 or online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid weekly. This Medicaid program is available to eligible St. Louis residents. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area, this service is available through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid weekly. So go to freedomcare.com now, or for faster service, call 314-697-4912, 314-697-4912. That's 314-697-4912.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-908-8646 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. What do you have to lose? Call 800-908-8646. Again, 800-908-8646.
Born in the Midwest, built on common sense. FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house. That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This is 2A Tuesday, brought to you by the Range St. Louis West.
And welcoming in Mark Walters, 2A Tuesday, host of Armed American Radio and Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, St. Louis. Great to be here.
Mark,
yeah.
Mark, I got a quick question. So many people are kind of leaning into and looking at the connection between many of these mass shootings, the sniper who had a relationship with a transgender person, all the trans shooters. Do you think that there's somehow connection between the violence that we're seeing in disproportionate amounts of transgender gunmen? I mean, don't you think the FBI should take a serious look at what's going on in this community?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up because I've often said when coincidences begin to line up, maybe they're not coincidences anymore, okay? So it's something we have to start taking a look at. Clearly, there's something. Now, I don't know what that is, but it does need to be looked at. Here's what I can tell people. Two of the three people that are heading up the FBI, and that includes now Andrew Bailey, the former Missouri Attorney General, is a friend of mine. You guys know him well.
Sure.
And, of course, Kash Patel. I know both of those men, and I trust both of those men to give us the truth. I know both of those men personally. I've talked to both of them face-to-face. I've looked them in their eye. I've interviewed them. They've answered questions, and they've spoken about issues with me, both of them together. In fact, I was supposed to be interviewing Bailey at the Gun Rights Policy Conference this weekend coming up in Utah, but because of his new positions in Washington and so forth, he was unable to be there. I had a fireside chat scheduled with him in front of the crowd. So I trust these men to give us the answers because I know these men personally, far more than I trust anybody in the former Biden administration officials. I can say that with certainty. But let's face it, Washington is a power vacuum, right? As you were just talking about with Todd, the government is a slog. How long will it take to get these answers? I don't know, but there's clearly a connection somewhere because we've seen too many. And if you go back and look at, I don't want to say go back and look at the tape, but if you listen to Charlie's last words, when he was asked that question, and we'll talk about the timing of that question too, coincidentally, that was interesting. Right. But he said, the question was, do you know how many trans mass shooters there have been? And Charlie's response was too many.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was getting ready. If you know anything about Charlie Kirk, he was getting ready to go in that direction. And then when he asked about whether it was including gangs or gang violence, the question, and then of course he was tragically murdered in front of the whole world to see. So is there a connection there? There's got to be. And if you look at the manifestos of some of these killers, they've made mention of their own trans issues in their own manifestos. Right. So the connection has got to be there. Over and above that, psychologically, that's above my pay grade. But just looking at it at the surface, when things begin to line up in order, well, you've got to start looking at whether or not it's a coincidence. I think that's a fair statement. I think it's a fair assessment.
Mark, are you having any problem with the sequence of events that they're reporting happened, especially in relation to the gun itself? I've never fired that particular model of a 30-06, but most high-powered rifles that I have dealt with are not easy to disassemble, not quickly anyway.
That's true.
So how did he get it up there? I don't buy that it was maybe down his pants. Could you even walk up a flight of stairs if you had a rifle going through your pant leg and up through your body? I don't even know how you'd bend your leg as well as he was. Clearly he was limping. I know people had video of him limping, but leaving, I don't see where that gun could have been. Could he have broken down that barrel and that so quickly and gotten it into his backpack?
Well, let me say this. I've never disassembled a Mauser 98, so I don't have the technical information on that. I have fired the gun. They're fun guns to shoot. They're very popular. They've been around for a long time, and a lot of people use them. The 30-06. Yeah, I had a long discussion by text with my brother-in-law last night, who is 100% conspiracy theory.
Okay.
And when I asked him to provide me any other answer, any than what we know, he couldn't. And we tend to see that a lot. You've got to look. There's a lot of things with the terminal ballistics, et cetera. That round, that 30-06 round, is not as big as a lot of people think it is. It's not much bigger than a .223 round. Out of that that bolt-action rifle, if let's say he was at 150 to 200 yards, the average muzzle velocity out of a gun, out of that round, depending on the grain of the bullet, and any hunter, there will be many deer killed with that round coming up this hunting season around the country, millions, in fact, with that round. And that gun can be fired accurately with iron sights. It doesn't need to have a scope. And 150 to 160 yards is not that great of a shot. To people who don't know firearms and rifles and have never fired, they would look at that and say, oh, there's no possible way. Yeah, there's lots of ways it can be done. People do it every single day, and they do it accurately. So I don't want to gin up that conspiracy theory, but we have him on video. We know where the shot was taken from. And one of the most telling, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about this anymore, but the first video that I saw of the event was taken from very far back at about the same distance where the guy on the roof was. It was somebody that was at the back at the top of the crowd. And when the shot rang out, that camera, that phone, immediately turned to the right in the direction of where the shot came from. And if you look at where that turned, it was at that level. It was right there at that rooftop on the other side. So, you know, there's a lot going on here. We do have video of him walking with that gate through the neighborhood. He clearly had the rifle barrel down his pants.
Okay.
But again, I trust Cash Patel, and I trust Bailey, and I trust Bongino to give us the facts in this case when they know them. I trust them far more than anybody else, as much as you can trust government anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if, show me where else it came from. You know, the shot was angled down. People are talking now about there was no exit wound. You know, hand signals, all this stuff. Hand signals are not unusual for private security if they've got details in the crowd. There's a lot going on here, and the sad part about it is Charlie's life was ended, and now we see this massive explosion, excuse me, of this conservative youth movement, which both of my children are participating in, by the way, at 21 and 23 years old. Now, I do want to say this on that same note. If my family is any indication, the Turning Point Freedom Festival in Phoenix in December, about a week before Christmas, is going to be double in size from what it was when my daughter and my niece went 2 years ago. They couldn't make it last year. Not only are they going this year, but they're taking my son and my nephew. So we've doubled our attendance at my family. Can you imagine what is going to happen in Phoenix this year at that event? I couldn't get them a hotel room, and I happen to know a lot of people in Phoenix. And we could, I know more people than the average people through business contacts. I couldn't get them a room within 15 miles of downtown, so I had to put them over in Scottsdale, which is fun. So it's going to be the massive turnout. And I heard, of course, I was listening to you and you guys and Todd talk about this too. It's an incredible movement we're witnessing. Sadly, as time goes by, and I almost hate to say this, I mentioned this on my show yesterday, but as time goes by and as this becomes more and more of a distant memory, the movement we're seeing, I think, is going to be one that is explosive in the conservative movement. And I think you guys were right when you were talking with Todd about this revival, this revolution of revival that we're seeing and bringing God back into our lives. It has to happen.
Yeah.
And I think it is. I think we're witnessing it in real time.
And I always say emotion doesn't have longevity, like the short-term pain, the anger, the anguish, the love, whatever. But what does is actions, right? And what we're seeing is that more and more people going back to churches, more people actually actively starting these chapters. That's action. Action's much more difficult to halt and to stop. If people start really making church a priority, their faith a priority, becoming more bold and speaking out, those are actions. Those are things that if people just get in the habit of doing it, I think they're going to find it's a lot easier to sustain that. And that's what my hope is, that this isn't a fleeting memory. This isn't just an emotional inflection point for our country, but it's truly, as many people have used the word, revival for America.
Well, that's a great point. And let me kind of expand on that just briefly from my own personal observations with my own kids who were there in 2022. For my kids' generation, what is that, Gen Z they call them? I don't really pay much attention to that. But who were there, this is their JFK moment for their generation. My daughter has pictures. She was right up near the front of the stage. She was behind the scenes with some of the news outlets, some of the folks that I knew. So they had a really good look at the behind the scenes inner workings of Turning Point. They have photographs of Charlie on stage. They treasure those now.
Yeah.
And they're able to say, like, I'm old enough, I'm going to date myself now, sadly, but I remember seeing Elvis in 1976, a year before he died. I'll never forget that. And that became even more important when he died. Wow, I saw him last year, and I was only 14 years old. So that's what we're seeing here. Now my son is going. So yeah, I think we're witnessing this explosion that was already well underway. And this is just magnifying it. And to them, it is a JFK moment. They will never forget. where none of us will forget where we were, but particularly these kids, particularly when mine are involved in the Turning Point movement itself. So it's fascinating to watch. It really is, truly. I feel good about it. And that sounds, I don't mean that, I think you know what I mean. I feel good about the explosion of the growth here, that we're actually going to get something good out of this horrific, tragic event. And another thing that's good about this as well is watching the other side, watching the demonic left act out is just mind-boggling to me. And I go back to Jasmine Crockett and the comments that she made the other day. You had 58 Democrats that voted against just simple human decency in the House of Representatives, and that would not honor a man who was tragically murdered in front of the whole world publicly, including his family. You don't have to agree with everything somebody says. Can you imagine? To me, it's mind-boggling. It really, truly, it's hard to wrap your head around, guys. It is.
Yep.
Mark, always enjoy your viewpoint and your passion, brother. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. You guys have a great show.
Awesome.
There you go. 2A Tuesdays. Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. One of Talker's Heavy 100, by the way. Fantastic radio talk show host on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got delays on 270 headed northbound 55 to 64. Southbound side, Page down to 64 is a bit heavy. 170 southbound from Olive down to 64 is slow. 64 eastbound through Chesterfield a bit tight. Then spots 270 to Big Bend. Westbound side, Kings Highway over to 270 in pockets. And 55 northbound through the work zone around Bayless up to Virginia. This report is sponsored by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Barron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. You can't find better quality, prices, or service than at Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Mark Reardon isn't here to echo talking points. He challenges them. What you gonna talk about? Smart, fast, and always original. The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Zero Res is offering you a great deal for the month of September. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. You can also get $75 off your air duct cleaning. This is the time of year, the weather's a little bit cooler in the evenings. People are outside playing, running through the grass. The pets are outside. It's time to get those carpets cleaned before we close the house up for the cold weather that's coming. Luckily for you, you can score big savings this month with Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, and all you have to do is call them up and tell them they can do your carpets. Of course, did you know they can also do upholstery and hardwood, and every surface in your home can be Zero Resified? That's why you need to give them a call today. Over 5,800 Google reviews with 4.9 ratings or above. 314-474-2020. Ask for the 97.1 special. Go to ZeroResSTL.com.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote Renter's Insurance at Progressive.com.
The Cards, the Giants.
Saipan Cancer Center game time 8:45. Play ball. Saipan Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you're still healthy and qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at GregHammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. But don't give a
The segment where we celebrate social media pioneers, people out there speaking the truth that you normally would never hear on a mainstream radio station or a TV station, because most TV stations don't want these voices heard. This particular lady on Truth Bomb Tuesday, I love her. I've been following her back when she only had about 10,000 followers. Now she's up over 60,000, mostly on X. I think she also has an account on Instagram. I think you can see some of her stuff on YouTube, but she goes by Puddin, Puddin, like chocolate pudding. But she is a dedicated Christian, devout wife. She's a passionate mom, and she just loves America. And in this particular rant that I'm going to give you, she goes after those people who actually have been critical of Erica Kirk talking about forgiving her, the man who gunned down her husband and the father of her children. And she showed the love and mercy of Christ by saying that she forgives him. Many people went out on social media and said that she's weak and how dare her, do that. And her husband would be ashamed of her. I mean, all kinds of just hateful, horrible thoughts. Well, Puddin goes after him in this segment. I'll tell you how to find her on X. You're going to want to probably follow her. She's sassy. She's Southern. And she comes from Tennessee, and she just tells it like it is. Here's Puddin.
You know what? At this point, I ain't even going to get mad at y'all anymore. I'm just going to sit over here and flat out pity y'all. Because, how low of a person do you have to be to sit here and twist the story of a grieving widow to mock a woman who just buried her husband? Oh, my Lord. And that's not just love, okay? That's like bottom of the daggum barrel. Bless your little bitter hearts. Here's the cold, hard truth about it. Somewhere along the way, someone did you wrong in your life. Everybody's got a story. And instead of trying to work through it, talking to somebody about it, handing it over to God, you just sit in it and wallow in it like a pig in mud, just rolling around in your own hate and misery. So now when you see Erica, who's broken and grieving, mind you, but still standing tall, still showing love, mercy, and forgiveness, it makes your skin crawl. Why, may you ask? Because demons cannot stand some holy water, baby. Y'all out here kissing like a feral cat, squirming around like you're a worm in hot ashes, just constantly online, lashing out, trying to drag her down. But in all reality, all you're doing is showing the world of how miserable you are. And that right there, that's freaking pitiful. That's sad.
Yeah, there is a great advocate. It was funny because after the service on Sunday, she said she was going to tone it down a bit because she feels she had been too sarcastic. She said she was too much of a negative and that she wanted to kind of become more enlightening with her messages. Well, the next day that came out and she kind of went after people in defense of Erica Kirk. Not that Erica needs defense, mind you, but I just think she's bold. She's very entertaining. She does have a great sense of humor on some issues too. If you want to find her, she's out there on X. The actual handle is @Puddin88124. But if you just put in Puddin, she'll pop up. She's got now about 60,000 followers. Let's put her up to 65, 70,000. She's awesome. She is. You'll enjoy her. She does post about 4 to 5 times a week.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah,
but you put that hip hop beat behind.
She did that.
Some very strong talk.
Somebody
which that gets people going.
Yeah, she could lower the audio level of the music because it drowned her out a little bit there. Usually she's got perfect mixes and she edits very tightly. Gets a lot in in usually what's a 2-minute segment. So she pudding. I love it. The Southern charm. She just pudding. She's got some vin and vinegar in her though, boy. She gets after it sometimes. If you go back and look at some of her more recent posts, she was really, really after it right after the Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
Yeah, and she doesn't inundate you with long diatribes. Usually they're a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes at the most. So I like her.
We got Ryan Wiggins, host of Wiggins America, Saturdays here on 97.1 FM Talk, TOK. And we'll talk to Ryan Wiggins next hour. A lot more to get to on the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in with Dan Buck, 97.1 FM Talk.
Baby's gone. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than 4 for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada.
Marc Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Annie Fry, along with Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group for the last Protecting Your Retirement educational event of the year. It's Thursday, October 2nd at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering if your 401k and IRA will last through your lifetime? Do you have your own personalized structured income plan set up? The markets are hitting all-time highs. Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your gains without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss the last event of the year.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, at the Frontenac Hilton, Thursday, October 2nd at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago Senator Dick Durbin. And now Dick Durbin has a new scheme, a government takeover of your credit card. Today, consumers have thousands of choices in credit cards, all with equal, strong security. But Durbin's plan is less competition and less security. And that means more risk for your credit and your identity. Tell Republicans in Congress, stop Dick Durbin's takeover of your credit card before it's too late.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
We're about to hear from President Trump. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. He'll speak to world leaders in New York at the UN General Assembly later this hour.
Why do we still have a UN? It has tremendous potential. The UN is an organization that has the potential to do some great things around the world, but it's not doing it.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the day after some American allies recognized a Palestinian state, which Israel rejects while waging a new offensive in Gaza City against Hamas.
It may take a while, but they're not going to survive the Israeli push.
The president will also meet at the UN with Arab leaders trying to stop the fighting, and he'll sit down with Ukraine's president, still trying to stop Russia's war, and Rubio also tells Fox.
The only leader in the world that has any chance of bringing it to an end is President Trump, which is why he has put more time and energy into it than anybody else.
A potential threat to the UN's been disrupted a hidden network.
Secret Service officials say the communications network was, quote, well organized and well funded, and found 300 servers at abandoned apartment buildings at more than 5 sites within 35 miles of the UN. They say the network enabled encrypted anonymous communication and was capable of sending 30 million text messages per minute, powerful enough to disable cell phone towers and launch denial of services attacks.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The trial for the man charged in the second Trump assassination attempt last year is winding down.
Closing arguments will begin first thing this morning, and then the case will go directly to the jury. Ryan Ruth got through all of his witnesses in just one day. Acting as his own attorney, Ruth called on 3.
That's Fox's Dana Marie McNichol outside the federal court in Fort Pierce, Florida. Jimmy Kimmel will be back on TV tonight. Disney lifting the suspension over comments they made about Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, but Sinclair-owned ABC stations will not carry Kimmel's show tonight.
The company announcing different plans, posting, quote, beginning Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming.
Fox's Todd Piro. America's listening to Fox News.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That fun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in. Cool as can be. Tap Good RX. Saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insured.
For 97.1 FM Talk, I'm Dan Buck. It is 8:03 and 69 degrees. The White House reports that they have intervened to stop Nippon Steel from shuttering their steel production at their Granite City plant. When Trump's Commerce Department allowed the Japanese steel company to purchase U.S. steel, Trump put in a national security measure called the Golden Share Clause that allows them to intercede on any closure to protect national interest. The company has not given a statement or a production schedule since the White House announced that they are stopping the Granite City closure. A former Edwardsville High School assistant principal was sentenced Monday to 4 years in prison on charges related to having sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student. 53-year-old Aaron Hamilton Foley pled guilty to a felony of sexual assault as part of a plea deal. Police are asking the public's help in identifying a suspect in the Schnucks shooting on Sunday afternoon. A 40-second video clip and a photo of a suspect was released from the fatal incident at that store in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood. Police are asking anyone with information about this suspect to call the homicide tip line. In a horrible, sad accident, an 8-year-old Bell Fountain neighbor boy was killed when the swing set he was playing on collapsed. The boy became unconscious shortly after he was freed under the crossbeam. He died of his injuries a short time later. In sports, a Monday night shootout in Baltimore as the Lions outgunned the Ravens 38-30. The Cardinals' Ivan Herrera hit a late 2-run homer to help beat the Giants last night out in San Francisco. That was the Cardinals beating the Giants 5-4 last night. It is 8:05. It is 69 degrees. I'm Dan Buck for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, we've got delays on 55 northbound. This is through that work zone from Rivas Barracks on up to Virginia, 270 northbound from 55 to 64, southbound side from Page to 64, 170 southbound, heavy from Olive down to 64, 64 eastbound through Chesterfield, pretty heavy now, and then spots from 270 all the way to Big Bend, westbound side from Kings Highway to 270. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We continue to deal with a cut-off low-pressure system that sends waves of unsettled weather our way. We squeezed most of yesterday out dry, but not so much today. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. There will be scattered showers and thunderstorms around 80. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight, 68. Same story Wednesday. Mostly cloudy with scattered showers and thunderstorms, 77. We start to slowly dry out Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's 8:06, 69 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime, anywhere you go by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Welcome back. Marc Cox on vacation this week. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in with Dan Buck. Good morning to you, Dan.
Hey, good morning. The last hour of the show. We got a packed hour, though, isn't it?
Sure. Well, we have our very own Ryan Wiggins that's going to join us this hour.
I wonder what he'll talk about today. I bet he's going to dive deep into the Charlie Kirk thing, I bet.
Well, it's so removed from his weekend show. It's Tuesday. I don't know if he knows yet what he's talking about this weekend, but we're going to put pressure on him anyway to make a decision right now. We played the Stephen A. Smith clips. We might have to play the full clip this hour, but I wanted to play something else from comedian Ryan Long, who was making a joke about Jimmy Kimmel. And the news this morning is that Jimmy Kimmel will return to ABC. He's going to continue on with his show. It looks like they've reached some sort of understanding. Doesn't sound like he's going to apologize. Doesn't sound like he has any remorse, but he's going to go on to the show tonight without Sinclair stations broadcasting the show. That includes ABC 30 here in St. Louis. And comedian Ryan Long kind of made a joke about Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I would notice that I don't think this is a free speech issue, but I still find humor in this. This is clip number 8.
I'll tell you, I feel like I'm losing my mind being gaslit by friends of mine. I had a friend, she came out to me and she was like, isn't it crazy that free speech is gone? I'm like, you supported every guy getting kicked off of everything for 10 years. It feels like a friend that was like an alcoholic for 8 years and just a menace, then coming back to the party after one day sober and being like, you guys need to get your life together. And you're like, what?
That's a funny take. That's very good. Who was that comedian? Who was it?
That's it. Ryan Long. We played a clip of him last week where they were talking about the liberals wanting their own Joe Rogan, and they don't want someone to have discussion. They just like the power and they're attracted to it. That was the same guy. And I see his stuff populate on my feed, and it is funny.
Now, you mentioned that Sinclair was going to be boycotting Jimmy Kimmel. Nexstar is also, right? Nexstar, who owns 2 stations in St. Louis, potentially 3 if the acquisition of Channel 5 goes through, they'll own 5, 2, and 11 in St. Louis.
Yeah. But I don't know how long they'll be able to do this. And I haven't seen a public anything about them. Mostly Sinclair, who publicly said they are going to continue on with the preemption based on the precursor. They want an apology from Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think that'll ever happen.
I'm looking on Nexstar's website. They does not look like they're rescinding their preemptive. The most recent news they have saying that they will preempt the Jimmy Kimmel show for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show.
So, good. Well, I didn't see that announcement.
That was last week, but they have said that there's no other announcement on their website saying that they're going to re-air it. And so you will not see Jimmy Kimmel tonight, at least not in St. Louis stations.
Well, Sinclair, they immediately, when they heard the announcement, said, no, we're sticking with it. They wanted to clarify. And there's some pretty big markets, including Washington, D.C., and Seattle, and St. Louis, and I think Columbus. And there's a lot of smaller market ABC affiliates as well, but some of the larger ones are in there, lumped in. I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel feels any remorse. I don't think it would be genuine if he does apologize. And if their contract is up next year and it doesn't sound like they were going to renew anyway, sounds like Sinclair might be shopping an alternative and may not want to deal with whoever they replace him with if they consider it's going to be someone similar to a Jimmy Kimmel.
Right. And it would be surprising to me if Kimmel doesn't see a bump in his ratings, which have been deplorable in recent years. I mean, the guy in the past 9 years has lost 72% of his core demographic market, which is that 18 to 35-year-old. I'm 72% drop in those numbers over the last decade. So, clearly in the tank, not making money. There's rumors that they lost something like $30 million on the show from revenue to expenses. I don't know how ABC can keep it going. Now, they are going to probably get a little bump here because everybody's going to want to hear, and see his show, and all these people who fought for him, are going to think they had a victory, and they're going to feel obligated to tune in. I won't give them the courtesy of tuning in. I haven't ever seen his show except for some clips here and there. And we talked about that earlier. What's the over-under of our listening audience? How many people actually tune into Jimmy Kimmel? Or let's even narrow it down. How many of you ever watched an entire Jimmy Kimmel show? One entire show?
Yeah, and we did the over-under. I would even say half a show. And I'm talking about more than one curated clip. Who has watched more than half a show in the 22 years he's been on? And I put the over-under at 1.5. And I would say most people would take the under.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that group. Again, I only familiar with him because occasionally you'll see clips on social media of outtakes he says or stupid crap he said, and people blasting him is normally what I see. But very rarely do people actually tune in after the late local news.
Yep.
So,
all right, let's do the short list.
The Marc Cox short list.
Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
Associated with, and I think a lot of people have recognized that. And I don't know how many people I've seen on the social media feed that had their own doctor warn them about this even before there was a federal warning label required.
An area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is
40%.
a lot. Yeah. Wow.
Well, part of it is, are we putting unnecessary vaccines in too early of a children's vaccine schedule? So if we are, let's say, introducing something foreign into a child's body that's not necessary for them at that age, can that cause harm? A lot of parents believe it can. 40%. Wow.
Yeah.
How come Anthony Fauci's not in jail yet? So I've been getting that greeting for the last couple of years, and she's still expecting me to have miracles to, put Anthony Fauci away. And it's not like we haven't tried.
Yeah, Rand Paul talking about his wife when he walks through the door. Why isn't he in jail yet? That's what she says to him every time he walks in. That's pretty comical.
I would be impressed if my wife said the same thing, walking through the door. Why isn't Fauci in jail yet? Oh, honey, I'm proud of you.
When's the National Guard going to be arriving in Memphis? You said they'd be coming soon.
Yeah, very soon. And we're going to straighten that up, just like we straightened out Washington. And
they may be welcome to the idea of getting things straightened out. I would say if I'm living in a city, and St. Louis included, when you've seen no progress, I mean, here's what I think happens a lot of times in the city of St. Louis. We kind of have to fake that things are good because you don't want to make it sound like you are bad-mouthing this city. So we just have to ignore the bad things. And that is not a way to combat crime. And there's a lot of cities that are like that. You have to get the pressure to feel the pride in the city that you live in, and you want to look at the positives. But at the same time, you have to face the reality of the negatives, which I think a lot of places don't want to do.
Yeah, or they change the crime reporting statistics. They recategorize, they move certain crimes out into a new category. So it makes it look like things are better because the reporting is different, or reporting is not going on accurately. And that's no answer either, right? We need the truth so we know what we're dealing with. And, that was the big problem in Washington, was that they kept saying, oh, things are better. And everybody looking around going, it's not better. We're seeing and hearing about these crimes each and every day. But we found out later they were cooking the books. They had a whistleblower come forward going, absolutely, they made us recategorize all these crimes under other headings so they wouldn't show up in carjackings or they wouldn't show up in the violent crime stats.
Yep.
So,
and we do this with other categories too. It's not just necessarily crime, but I've noticed a lot of the way we talk about drugs in recent years, the way we talk about gambling, sports gambling in recent years, and vaping. And, there's a lot of these things where they glorify, everything's so great and you just got to let people have some fun. But then you're not allowed to bring up the counterweight, which is the damaging things that are ruining people's lives in the background. It's the same way when it comes to crime. It feels almost discouraged if you bring up the reality of the situation.
Yeah. I'm reading something that you'll laugh about because you said you almost predicted it in the 5 o'clock hour when you played that clip of Donald Trump talking about women having to be tougher, toughen up. If don't take Tylenol, right. It's not good for you. And you said, they're going to jump all over that of him telling women to toughen up. Doesn't take long. Governor Hochul has come out this morning and she has said, as someone who has been through labor twice, I don't need lectures on toughness, and neither does any women. This is insulting to every mother in America. Oh, what do you mean birthing person, right? It's not a mother. And by the way, it's so good that finally Governor Kathy Hochul knows the definition of a woman. That's really good that she's come out and actually admitted it. But I just find that appalling. Instead of saying, hey, ladies, take note, you're right. There's now evidence that there is a problem with autism from taking Tylenol while pregnant. She wants to focus on Donald Trump. That just shows you how deranged they are. Instead of looking at this body of evidence, and this isn't new evidence. There's been studies being done since 2016 proving this. It's
I know.
just sad. It's crazy.
I knew that bringing that up, if like it was me to my wife, I knew that would put me in some hot water. So I immediately recognized, at least I can recognize that much. I got a text message from Ryan Wiggins. He's going to talk about polling in the November special election. So we're looking forward to having him later in the hour. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
The slowdowns on 270 if you're headed northbound from 55 to 64, southbound side from Olive down to 64, 170 southbound. You've got slow spots from about Forest Park Parkway down to 64, 64 eastbound through Chesterfield slow, then spots from McKnight over to Big Bend, westbound side Kings Highway to 270, spots of delays, and 55 northbound Bayless to Virginia. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Well, sometimes you need new flooring because you've had a flood, maybe from a washing machine or something like that. That happened to us in our kitchen. And not only did it ruin the flooring in the kitchen, which was hardwood and all warped, it went down to the basement. And as part of our insurance claim, we had to get new carpeting in the basement too. Michael's can handle all of that. Michael's Flooring Outlet, whatever the reason for you changing flooring, if it's just time for an update or you're having an emergency at your house, shop at Michael's. They've got a great selection. Plus, they've got that Revwood Select and Revwood Plus 10-year waterproof warranty, all-time, all-pet warranty. You can drop water on this and it doesn't matter. And that's what we ended up replacing our kitchen flooring with. You're going to love it. Ask them about it at Michael's. They've got lots of great Mohawk products up there. Old Town St. Peter's, Darden Prairie, and West St. Louis County. Shop online at igotfloor.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, And maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now, but all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Cutting through the spin. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Yep, Ryan Wiggins joins us next segment, and we'll talk some polling with him, which is his expertise. So during the break, Dan, I just did a quick count of how many Sinclair stations will be excluding Jimmy Kimmel tonight, and that does not include the Nexstar ones. So this is just Sinclair. 18 of the top 100 markets will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel, and that's a lot. Of the top ones, you have the 8th largest market, 12, 24, 32, 37, 45, 47. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them in the top 50. That's a lot. And that's a pretty big audience that you're sacrificing by not saying that maybe I shouldn't have done this. I mean, he says he's going to address it. I don't know if it's going to fulfill what's necessary for Sinclair to start airing it again. It could be a long standoff, but they could be looking for long-term solutions at this point.
I would hope they would. I mean, hold your ground. You know, we don't need more polarization out there, you know, late night. People say, oh, you go after him. No, I think this is a business choice for ABC. Are they going to continue down this road of hatred and visceral political speech if they think that sells, which clearly it hasn't, if they've been losing $30 million in recent years on that show, why they wouldn't change course, at least to a show that doesn't cost as much to produce and it doesn't have a host making $15 million a year. I would think ABC would make an economic choice here, but I do hope the FCC stays out of it. This is not a opportunity for the Trump administration to try to go after Kimmel or try to pressure ABC. You and I have both talked about that. This needs to remain a free market broadcasting entity to make the choice for their programming.
Yep. And if you look at it in a sports standpoint, when you have teams at the trade deadline ready to overpay for someone because they think it's going to push them over the top, Jimmy Kimmel doesn't push ABC over the top. No. In fact, Jimmy Kimmel kind of holds them down, and it's a long-term deal, not a short-term deal. And there's not a lot of other people that are banging at your door and saying, Jimmy, come work for us. Not a lot of places for him to go at this point. So there's not a lot of, I think, leverage for a Jimmy Kimmel to make an argument. Okay, I'm just going to go sign with so-and-so. Particularly when you have Colbert out there too, also looking for a new gig, whatever that may be. And needs to point out, if you look at the two shows, and I'll use Colbert for example, because I don't know the numbers for Jimmy Kimmel, but Colbert had a staff of about 100 people working for him. And they were losing, what was the number? 40 million a year?
Yeah.
Something that, no. And if you want to compare that to Greg Gutfeld, who is the most popular of the late night hosts, he has a staff of like 10 people, and they're all non-union, and they like working there. And they are crushing all of these 100 staffers, and they're not losing money. They're actually doing quite well for themselves on Fox with Greg Gutfeld. So I would look at that if I was ABC and saying, we're going in the wrong direction. Maybe we need someone more like Bill Maher, like he used to have, where we have these type of discussions. Low overhead, someone that can drive a conversation, look at both sides of things. Maybe that's what they need if they want to compete with like a Greg Gutfeld.
Yeah. And Gutfeld, you know, he doesn't have this ego hour, you know, where it's all about him. he breaks up his entire show with 4 additional guests, everybody chiming in. He facilitates the dialogue and the discussion. He has his opening monologue, whatever that topic of the day is. But, he spends 1 hour getting other people's opinion, and he has comedians on that are pretty darn funny. But I just like how he, takes the focus off himself. It is the Gutfeld show, but truly you get a lot of diversity of thought on that show from very different perspectives.
Sure. We played the short clip of Stephen A. Smith discussing Kamala Harris's new book. People have been posting online, pun intended, has she sobered up? Is that why she's saying the things she's saying in her book?
But she go to treatment in the past 6 months or what?
Maybe if she wants to credit to that, clear thinking. But here is ABC this week. Here's the longer portion of Stephen A. Smith with the question. Let's listen to clip 7.
I got to say just quickly on this, she didn't speak up, but neither did Josh Shapiro. Neither did Gavin Newsom. Neither did all. Everybody just kind of stood by and,
Oh, no, John. Don't do that. Don't do that. Josh Shapiro is the governor of the state of Pennsylvania. He has a job. He's in office, okay? The reality is that you were the vice president. You were swearing up and down that you were in the room for all the major decisions, and then come to find out you're acknowledging that that was not the case. So if you're an American voter, which I am because I am no politician, I am an American voter. I am a conscientious observer, and I'm hearing this stuff from you now, which was opposite of what you were verbalizing to America in pursuit of their vote. Now that you're trying to sell a book and we're hearing a totally different tune, all I'm trying to say to you is that folks are going to remember that, and you weren't that strong of a candidate before. Respectfully, remember, she didn't make it to Iowa in 2020, okay? And then in 2024, you lost every swing state. You lost a popular vote for the first time since 2004. Nobody wants to hear it now. I believe her political career is over.
Amen.
Love it.
You know what? But part of me hopes it's not. I mean, I would love it if her or AOC, win the nomination. I mean, to me, that's a slam dunk victory for the Republicans. If either one of those two get in, Newsom scares me just because, the pretty boy, the smooth talker, he's got a dumpster fire of a state that he's been running and drove them into the ground. But, people have done that in the past and still got elected, even though their governorship was a nightmare. I mean, heck, look at Buttigieg. I mean, he couldn't run a freaking, little town of 50,000 people. And somehow he gets elevated to a national position of prominence and a legitimate candidate for president. It'd be just interesting to see if she actually has any traction in the upcoming election.
Yeah, and I know Ryan Wiggins looks at a lot of polls. Maybe we ask him about how he thinks the polling would go for something like that. Newsom, I look at it as a Biden Jr., so that could be a little bit dangerous because people voted for him there before. We'll get to Ryan Wiggins after the break on 97.1 FM Talk.
There are things in life that you have to know for certain. Sue Thomas with you. And one of those is the money that we have saved for retirement enough to make it through our retirement? Oh, you have got to have a written financial retirement plan in place. This is why I like Financial and Tax Architects' approach. Their idea is, okay, let's teach you a few things about how retirement works, some tax-efficient strategies, how to deal with saving for any kind of healthcare issues you've got coming up in retirement. And then we'll sit down with you, see what you've got, customize a plan specifically to your goals and to your values based on what you've got. And I just think that's the way to go. So go online and register for a class. F as in Frank, FTA-RIA.com, FTA-RIA.com. Register for a class, go see what you think, and get a leg up on retirement.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. NVIDIA said it will invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI and supply it with data center chips, marking a tie-up between two of the highest profile players in the global artificial intelligence race. The deal gives chipmaker NVIDIA a financial stake in the world's most prominent AI company, which is already an important customer. Aquastar Corporation is recalling more than 85,000 bags of shrimp due to insanitary conditions where the products may have been contaminated by a radioactive element. The FDA said the affected products were sent to Colorado, Michigan, Missouri, and more. DBS Private Bank, part of Singapore's biggest bank, DBS Group, said its bank-backed multifamily office platform has reached $780 million in assets under management 2 years after launch and is on track to hit $2 billion by the end of 2026. Futures are currently mixed. Monday, the Dow Industrials gained 66, the NASDAQ up 157. That's Your Money Now.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, things are a bit slow if you're headed northbound on 270 yet from Gravois on up to just past 64, southbound side from Olive down to 64. Eastbound 64, pretty heavy yet through Chesterfield over to 141, almost to 270, and then from Lindbergh to Big Bend. Your westbound side, Big Bend, Kings Highway, make that over to Big Bend, and southbound on 170, slow from Forest Park Parkway down to 64. This report is sponsored by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, Lakeside Renovation and Design has been St. Louis's trusted source for transforming homes inside and out. From windows and siding to kitchens, bathrooms, and outdoor spaces, they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis and they get paid weekly. Available to eligible Medicaid members in St. Louis. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want to receive great care from a loved one, go to freedomcare.com, or for faster service, call 314-597-1749. 314-597-1749. That's 314-597-1749.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
This is Todd Krentz with Krentz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we have helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. Selling your business is a major milestone. Before and after the sale, our role is to help cut through complexity and create a clear financial strategy focused on your legacy. We often coordinate with your attorney and CPA to ensure everything is aligned so your plan not only fits today, but continues working for you in the future. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Servicing. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
Real talk, today's issues. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! Ryan Wiggins. Good morning, sir.
Good to see and be around you and Dan and everybody again.
The man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Wiggins.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, how's it been the last few days, buddy?
It's been long days, long hours, but fun.
Still recovering
Coast to
from
coast all
his
weekend.
3 days in a row of coast to coast, followed by the Marc Cox morning show all week. So
Oh, yeah.
his sleep patterns are all screwed up.
I've
Yeah, you know what? First, I thought maybe it's just a byproduct of overworking, overexerting yourself. Maybe I was having a stroke, but the house smells like pumpkin spice, and that's not good.
Don't go there again. For goodness sakes, he's had this pumpkin spice crisis at his house.
That's not a crisis. My house smells the same, and I love it. I think it smells
do?
great. Yeah, I'm not into the drinks as much, but I do love whenever the fall is just starting to show up, and in little ways, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Give me apple spice, give me cinnamon, give me some other stuff. But I'm with Ryan on this one. I'm not a big pumpkin spice fan. It's just, I don't know.
I would almost think I like the smell of body odor before I do pumpkin spice.
No. That's
no.
too far. I mean, there's a lot of people you probably just lost who are on your side, my man.
Yeah. All right. So, Ryan, what's the topic of today? Where are we going?
Well, as you know, I love looking at data. I've been billed as the polls guy, but really I love looking at all kinds of data, including early voting and trends and registrations. And I got to tell you, there is some good news, some bad news. So it depends on whether we're looking ahead to the November 2026 midterms, which is usually the big topic of discussion, or we're looking at this November because there's just a couple of bigger special elections in Virginia for governor. That is a Dem seat they're trying to flip back to Dem from Glenn Youngkin, who's a Republican who won in 2021, surprisingly. And then they're trying to hold on to the governor's seat in New Jersey, the Dems are. So those are two big barometer elections that do have national implications, but they are the big ones we're watching for this November. Mm-hmm. However, the the big trends. So let's start with this. On CNN, Harry Enton shared the direction the country is just feeling regarding the big issues right now into November.
Okay.
This particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime? A big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Look at that. Lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this. At this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues, the economy, immigration, and crime.
So he is talking about the national temperature on the three biggest issues. And he goes on later in that clip. I didn't want to play because it's like 2 or 3 minutes long, but he goes on in that clip to say that compared to this point in, say, 2018, the last big November midterm for Democrats, Republicans are actually ahead even on all of those issues, even compared to then. So that bodes well for Republicans going into next year. However, when you look at all the rest of the data that we have, what this is and what this November will be are turnout elections. That's what basically all elections are now.
Sure.
In fact, is just turnout, because you got a 50-50 country that is split on most things. Now, that being said, those big issues skewing Republican and harder than even before is great for Republicans, but it's all about who's going to turn out. And here's the bad news. So far, in little elections throughout Donald Trump's second term, which these are little elections. These are like little state house things in Iowa. And the biggest one would have been the Wisconsin Supreme Court election that we had back in March or April. All of those elections have gone very, very heavily into Democrat territory. That's because of turnout, because Republicans are sitting on their heels right now and not turning out for these little elections. Now, a lot of people rightfully point at little bitty elections like that. I mean, Wisconsin Supreme Court's like the biggest of them, but most of them are very, very small. And they say, well, but those don't really give you an indication. And that's true. They don't really give you a full national indication of big elections like midterms. But what they do is they look back at the way these go over every midterm election for the last 40 years or whatever, right? And so they say, okay, well, how is this comparing? Well, usually in a good Democrat year, Democrats will be up in these little bitty elections by about 3, 4, 5 points. In a good Republican year, Democrats may be up by 1 point. It might be even. Republicans might be up by a couple points. This year, in these little bitty special elections, Democrats are up by 14 points, which means that they are turning out and Republicans are not turning out.
When you talk about turnout and vote counting, are you also talking about that, that great tool that the liberals have called absentee ballots, right? And they are driving this so home in these leftist states that they're just getting ballots turned in weeks and weeks in advance, which many of the conservative states are not pushing that.
That's one factor. I will give you some good news out of Virginia based on that, though. I'm glad that you asked that. This is a reporter out of Virginia saying breaking news out of Virginia. It's the kind of news that should make Republicans' heart race with pride. The numbers are in and they're stunning. They're conservative. Republican-leaning counties are shattering expectations in early voting in Virginia, leaving Democrat strongholds in the dust. And she goes through county by county. These aren't counties we're familiar with being here in St. Louis, but all rock solid conservative territory. You got 82% turnout, 72%, 62% in early voting. That's huge. And that's not just big in Republicans' parts. It's low in Democrat parts, Norfolk City, Charlottesville, and some others. They're at 43, 42, 31%. That indicates that there actually is apathy the other direction. So it's going to be an interesting November based on what we've seen, because you have such wild swings. You've never seen Democrats do so well in little bitty special elections, which means that their base is fired up and turned out for these little things. But in a bigger election like Virginia, is that going to show that actually these national issues are at play and Republicans are the ones turning out? It remains to be seen.
I hoping Ethan may have this clip. Two things. One, my Harry Enton favorite clip. Have you heard us play it before? This is great. I think you'll like this, Ryan Wiggins, if Ethan has it.
Oh,
he's looking for
please.
I thought went by kind of fast.
Play it one more time.
Oh, please.
Number two, I want to go back to something you mentioned there about the economy and the way Republicans are polling in it right now. If you look at the headlines, they'll say, look at how terrible Donald Trump is doing when it comes to the economy. And they always quote like 38% Republicans are polling when it comes to how they're handling the economy. Are you saying Democrats are even lower than that?
Say those numbers again. You lost me.
It was like 38% that Republican, when they were asked about the economy, how they're handling the economy right now, it was only 38% approval, something along those lines. Are you saying that when you look at your other numbers, that Democrats are actually polling worse when it comes to the way they handle the economy?
Yes.
Okay.
So Trump has lost ground on the economy because people expected him to lower prices instantly, which was never going to happen. But they don't trust the Democrats to do anything different. So Trump and Republicans are still ahead on the economy overall.
So that's the way these headlines work. They'll bring up something and they'll say, look how terrible Republicans are when it comes to handling fill in the blank. But then they omit that if they were to look at the opposite, it's actually a lot worse. They always lead this headline. And in fact, better of the two options, though not great, but better of the two options, they use that as a way to try to attack Republicans when really, if they were to put it into context, it would look even worse for the Democrats.
Yeah, polling is tricky, and that's one of the reasons that people don't trust it, because we have dishonest media and headlines and influencers that manipulate those things. So you got to look past the headlines and look at the actual data. And, with registrations and actual turnouts, that's even better than polls, and that's what we're starting to see now. And overall, yes, nationally, what's interesting, and this is like, I'll conclude on this big point here, that what's happened in the Trump era that we've seen in overall voting is that blue-collar voters have shifted toward Republicans. Blue-collar voters also don't turn out for many elections other than big national ones. So what it looks like is, before you'd always hear, well, Democrats win the off years, or Republicans win the off year, Democrats win the big elections. That looks to be flipping now, where you don't know if Republicans are going to be winning more national elections, big elections, and Democrats are going to be winning the off years. We're kind of in the midst of that transition right now. So that's why we're watching it carefully to see.
It'll be interesting to see where that middle goes too. And I think this Charlie Kirk last 14 days is going to be a real telling part where that middle goes. I think they have seen an evil, dark side of the far left in the visceral, hateful, mean-spirited, disrespectful manners of which they have reacted to the Charlie Kirk death, including politicians on, high, what Crockett has said and what others have said. I think those folks in the middle are going to be like, if I have to go left or right, I have to go right, because those people over there are just dark. They're evil. They're versus you're seeing this peaceful demonstration, this loving message from the right. And thank God we didn't get retaliation. I think it's been remarkable that we have not seen any type of a retaliatory violent act. But don't you think that's going to affect that middle voter, that swing voter?
I do. But the polling is not recent enough to know yet.
Yeah, they don't know yet.
Right. So we don't really know. But I do think that is a national event that is going to change things. But the data doesn't show it yet. We'll have to
and
see.
that young voter influence, if indeed we see 70 new chapters of colleges, high schools, churches starting TPUSA, whose primary objective is get the vote out.
Right.
If they really can do that and get these young Christian valued voters to the polls in all these states, we could see in this November, but really next November, a massive swing in how that works out.
Wow. Ryan Wiggins, so good to see you this morning.
Yeah, good to see you too. And thanks for working hard for us.
Wiggins America, Saturday mornings here on 97.1 FM Talk. I made a recommendation. Maybe you can use this as part of your imaging, but instead of 97.1 FM Talk, TALK, we can change that to TOK in honor of TikTok, and we can start doing dances when we're broadcasting.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Annie Fry would probably, I'm going to assume she'll be fine with that. So tune in at noon, and that's what we'll be doing.
their first talk show dance. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Just a delay coming out of Chesterfield on the eastbound side of 64 from the Chesterfield area to past 141 with a crash in the lane. The westbound side still slows from Kings Highway over to Big Bend, and northbound on 270. Delays that go from about 44 on up to past 64, and southbound side from Olive down to 64 as well. This report is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Jerry Kelly swings next day installs no matter how late you call. And because they work later every day, they're faster when your equipment just needs fixing too.
That's MVP material.
Yep, simple fix or a full install. Nobody gets you comfortable faster.
JerryKelly.com. 97.1 FM Talk welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghost of Christmas Eve, at the Enterprise Center on December 23rd. A portion of the proceeds benefits Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Are you selling your home, maybe planning to buy another? Maybe you've already got one in mind. That was the experience we went through with Glory Lou. We had already picked out that next home. What we needed to do was sell ours quickly so we didn't end up with 2 mortgages. And Gloria Lou at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is the person that I need you to talk to if that's your situation. Just call her, tell her Marc Cox was talking about her. You know that she's my real estate agent and you're interested in finding out more about what she does and her guarantee. This is Gloria's guarantee to you. If you got a home sold guaranteed name in the name of your business, that means a lot. She sticks by it. She will guarantee in writing that she sells your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. How about that? You just can't beat it. There's no one else in town doing that. 314-325-6888. Tell her Mark sent you, or go to gloriahasthebuyers.com.
The Cards, the Giants.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 8:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands, or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote Renter's Insurance at Progressive.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Got a couple more minutes here, and this is something that's breaking this morning from the Secret Service. Did you see what they broke up in New York City when it came to the discovery of more than 300 SIM servers in a 100,000 SIM card operation? The idea is you could take this, jam up communications, especially when the United Nations is meeting and some foreign dignitaries are in town, and you would basically halt all communication through cell phones, through regular means, by just attacking with call after call after call. It would be looked at as an attack on our grid, and it looks like they were setting all this stuff up. Luckily, the Secret Service dismantled it, and it realized there were foreign actors associated with it, so it looked like it could have been an attack from outside this country as well, with people from inside.
And they believe the target was the UN conference coming up?
That's where it was. They were
thinking?
within miles from the global meeting of the United Nations General Assembly now underway in New York City. So given the timing and the location, they said it's not a coincidence. There was other, setups across the country, so this wasn't just the one. But the fact that it was in close proximity during this time indicates that maybe there was an outside attack that was imminent that they were able to stop.
Wow. Hey, some of the numbers are coming in from the Charlie Kirk Memorial, the ratings for television and social media. They now are saying that the total online viewership alone, this is not the broadcast audience, just the online viewership through X and through YouTube channels and through the various, things, is 25 to 30 million were tuned in during the 5-hour service. Now, that does not include the broadcast, the cable news broadcast. So they think there was total, now get this number, the Charlie Kirk show and the executive producer of that show, Andrew Colvett, said that their production and streaming partners who agreed to take it live reported 100 million overall streams. That puts it in Super Bowl kind of numbers.
Yeah, no kidding.
So one of the most watched television events of our era, outside of a Super Bowl, it's going to be number one. Fox, MSNBC, CNN, they were talking 65 to 72% increase from their normal Sunday programming viewership. So a huge increase to their viewership numbers on Sunday. So just clearly America was tuned in and, watching intently. And who knows what the impact's going to be, but I think it's going to be massive. It is
about 100 million. Now, I had to do a quick look up this past Super Bowl, 127.7 million. Wow.
Yeah.
So that is interesting that you can compare it in that sense. Well, Dan, you're going to be off tomorrow. Is that right?
Yep. I've got some duties down at Lake of the Ozarks, a new resort we're going to be opening down there, and got some work to do down there, and then back on Thursday.
Cool.
Yep.
We'll be back again there too. I'm not sure. Is Scott going to be in tomorrow? Ethan, do you know who's going to be joining us on the Marc Cox Morning Show?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Could be you, Ethan, as far as we know.
It could be. We never know.
I tell people I make up news all the time. Just go with the flow. Just make up stuff. If you don't know the lotto numbers when you're reading the newscast, just make them up. They're just numbers.
That'll work out great.
Dan, I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
This will be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Don't wash your hands with that soap, all right? Don't do it. Apple spice. Apple spice instead of pumpkin spice.
On the Marc Cox Morning Show, I'm Ryan Riker, filling in for the rest of the week. 97.1 FM Talk. See you soon.
Hey, I shouldn't have to be the one that reminds you of this, but your garage door is always there for you. It's there, rain or shine, heat or cold. It's working. It's going up. It's going down. And if you take it for granted, guess what? Eventually, it's going to stop working. And that's not what you want. If it's screeching or whining for attention, take the hint and call my friends at the Overhead Door Company. You can trust them to keep that garage door